that legal threat, but we can't play the entire
To wonder in
Guys,
Are you
Sister Tracy?
But you can't be
I'm the baby or whatever.
This was not
So first up,
I know where you live because
listen, I have a question.
Tony.
So apparently when it comes
She said she thought was right.
Looks like the
Stepbrother. Whether it's Swanda, whether it's
Tony.
This is why I got an attitude about the story, because somebody else's moment was hijacked. When you woke up in the morning, when all of us woke up in the morning, the story was not how great Versus was. The story was not, ooh, that was a Versus for the history.
Tony knowing.
Just when you thought the drama between Tamar Braxton and Funky Dineva was over, it's not. It seems as if Tamar is now speaking through her attorney, denying the accusations that Funky Dineva had on his YouTube channel, where he claims that Tamar Braxton and Mendices had an inappropriate relationship. Well, Funky is also responding.
Aware of what really happened to you?
No, I'm not.
Or can you talk about
I can talk about it, but I'm not aware of what really happened to me.
Yeah.
All I know is that I went to a friend's birthday party. I gave a friend a birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
You thought was your friend.
Well, we ain't even gonna touch on that.
Yeah.
I came home like I would normally do.
So now we finna take it all the way back to the very beginning. I knew this was how you was gonna play it. And let's be very clear here. If y'all remember when the situation first broke and about the whole mouth stuff, and I said, and the only reason you dropped that video is because, and I said, I ain't gonna do it to you. Y'all remember?
Just when everyone thought the smoke between Tamar Braxton and Funky Diva had finally cleared, boom, it kicks right back up again. Tamar is now letting her attorney speak for her, denying every single accusation Funky dropped on his YouTube channel, where he claimed Tamar and Menace were involved in an inappropriate situation. And of course, Funky didn't stay quiet. He fired right back at that legal letter. Here we go again. Welcome back to the Campfire channel, the spot everybody pulls up to when they need the real talk on pop culture, the hottest music updates, entertainment buzz, reality TV shakeups, and everything else that keeps the streets talking. Make sure you drop a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and tap that notification bell so you never miss when we go live with fresh drama or upload a brand new story that'll have you glued to the screen. Now listen, I know a lot of you saw the chaos unfold last night. Funky went live and broke down his whole reaction to Tamar hitting him with that legal threat, but we can't play the entire conversation here. If you missed it, don't worry. We uploaded a full breakdown yesterday where we covered Funky responding to some shade Tamar tossed his way during her sit-down with L'Oreal. And when I say shade, I mean she slid it in smooth like she didn't think Funky was gonna catch it. But he definitely did, and he made sure everybody else caught it too.
Yeah.
So they started putting you two together. Do you and Mendices have like anything beyond this film? Or?
No, to be honest, I barely even know him.
Okay.
to be honest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not like, we're cool,
Yeah.
but he's not like my homie. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's not
right.
like that. And he just got casted in the film, and here we are.
Were you like a little hesitant? This is the one thing I will say, how I think people might get tied in. Maybe because you're using his name in the film. Did y'all ever think about using a different name?
We use Julian.
That's a different name, though.
Things are getting louder, messier, and way more dramatic than anyone expected, and this legal back and forth is starting to feel like the opening round of a fight neither one of them wants to back down from. Let's get into it. So now Funky is clapping back at that legal letter, and things are getting even wilder out here. Earlier yesterday, Tamar posted the letter on her social media. But if you go look now, it's gone, vanished. I checked again just to be sure, and yep, she took that whole thing down like it never existed. And when I first saw it, I thought, okay, she's denying everything and letting him know she's ready to take legal action if she has to. That's exactly how it read. But here's the thing. Based on the way Funky described those encounters between him, Tamar, and Menace, it sounded like there were other people around, like real witnesses. And honestly, there might even be camera footage of whatever moments he claimed he saw.
Anybody know who happened and what happened to your damn teeth? It's Mendices and his best friend, because they was the ones who went upstairs with you. Now, I don't know whether they was fucking your ass from the back and ran your head through the headboard or what. Or to go back to your stories and put, Funky Dineva didn't do anything to me, guys. I was resting. I should have said something earlier. That was all you had to do, and it could have been done with on my end. Even in this very moment,
to be honest, I barely even know him.
Okay.
to be honest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not like, we're cool,
Yeah.
but he's not like my homie. You know what I mean?
Right,
It's not
right.
like that. And he just got casted in the film.
But the real question is, were those moments actually inappropriate? That part is still up for debate. Funky went on a full 45-minute rant breaking down his side of the story, dragging out every detail he remembered about Tamar. We are not about to sit here and unpack that whole saga. Nobody has time for that marathon today. But I do want to run through Tamar's original statement, because we keep things fair around here, and then we'll talk about what Funky said in response. Now let's get into this legal letter situation. Tamar shared a letter that she claimed was from her attorney, but here's the twist. The letter is signed by her, not the actual lawyer. That part needs to be highlighted. It's printed on legal letterhead, sure, but the signature at the bottom, that's Tamar's handwriting, not her attorney's. And the letter says it's from the desk of attorney James L., which makes it even more confusing because why is she signing it herself? This whole thing is looking messy, dramatic, and low-key suspicious, and it's only making the situation louder. Walker Jr. Okay, so this is labeled as the official statement of Tamar E. Braxton. But the moment you start reading it, things take a sharp left turn. She opens the so-called legal letter by saying, "This summer, I poured my heart into heartbreak retrograde." And I'm sitting here like, does a legal letter normally start off like a promo for your latest project? Because this sounds more like an album rollout than someone clapping back at accusations. She goes on, "This summer, I poured my heart into Heartbreak Retrograde, a project that includes a 6-song EP and a short film." And at that point, I'm wondering, what exactly is happening here? How did we jump from legal threats to music promo in the same breath? But she continues saying, seeing the project hit #1 on the iTunes R&B charts and crack the top 20 overall meant everything to her and her team.
I want to know what all the hell going on, bitch. I want to know what's going on too, bitch, okay? The lady got on the internet and said she almost died. Now listen, let me just go ahead and get this out the way, okay, before we even get at the top of the show. I don't know what happened to the lady. Okay.
I want him to tell his own story. You know, I don't really like telling people's story. You should ask Mendices.
Are you aware of what really happened to you?
No, I'm not.
Or can you talk about
I can talk about it, but I'm not aware of what really happened to me.
Yeah.
All I know is that I went to a friend's birthday party. I gave a friend a birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
You thought was your friend?
Well, we ain't even gonna touch on that.
Yeah.
I came home like I would normally do.
She thanks everyone for the support, like this is an acceptance speech. Then she switches gears again and says that's why it's been painful to watch what she calls a hurtful and completely untrue rumor spread online this week. The rumor accusing her of having an inappropriate relationship with her male co-star. That's the part she's addressing, finally. Now, you might remember she recently said in that interview that she's not even friends with Menace. She made it sound like they barely know each other. But people have been talking for months, claiming they've been spotted together out and about. And that's why some folks weren't buying the "we're not even friends" angle. The streets have been buzzing nonstop about that connection. And don't forget, Funky hinted at this months ago when their first feud popped off. He dropped little crumbs back then, and now he's dropping full details. He said there were 3 separate times where he was hanging out with Tamar, and during each one, he witnessed something that made him raise an eyebrow. 3 different occasions, not just one. And now all of that is coming back up while Tamar's trying to push this statement that keeps drifting between PR rollout and damage control. This situation is spinning fast, and she's trying to pull it back, but people are side-eyeing every word. And then out of nowhere, Menace pops up in the mix, and that's when I had to stop and say, hold on, what is really going on here? I told you before, something about this felt like a setup, like a whole plot and plan. Because why would someone keep an alleged low-key relationship with Menace?
And it was like, stop. But you know that cute little stop that y'all girls do? And he kept leaning in and whispering. And he would rub in between her legs again. And she would push his hands off again. Real cute, like real 16-year-old, like. Let me know if that's appropriate or inappropriate as a male co-star. And I'm going to tell you something. I just thought about something, and I thought about this in the very beginning. I'm the fool in this situation. I am the biggest fool.
And then bring him around Funky, who literally runs a platform built on pop culture commentary. Why introduce that situation to somebody who's guaranteed to talk about it? I even suggested that maybe Tamar wanted this whole thing to leak. And in Funky's latest video, he admitted he had the same thought. He said he wondered if Tamar purposely brought Menace around him so he would end up repeating what he saw, or maybe even help spark attention for her new project dropping. And the wild part is, a lot of people were already questioning that angle back when she talked about that near-death experience she claimed happened. Folks were whispering, is this promotion for Heartbreak Retrograde? The streets were suspicious long before the legal letter showed up. But here's the kicker. I don't think Tamar realizes that all this chaos isn't making people rush to stream the project. If anything, everyone is glued to the drama, not the music. The noise is drowning out the art right now. And honestly, that's something Toni Braxton pointed out way back during season 2 of The Braxtons, when she said she felt like Tamar cared more about being infamous than being famous. That hit hard then, and it hits even harder now. Toni even added that she had to call her publicist countless times because of Tamar's situations blowing up, and Tamar shot back saying, I have my own publicist! Like she wanted to make it clear she could handle her own image. But right now, this whole situation is spinning way out of control, and the attention is not the kind you want tied to a new release. This drama is spiraling, and Tamar is stuck right in the center of it. Tamar didn't seem to understand that when she jumps into drama, it doesn't just land on her. It hits the whole family too. Toni Braxton even said that straight up before, like, whatever you do affects me as well. And at the end of Funky's rant, he started comparing the sisters, saying Toni would never move the way Tamar has been moving. He said Toni carries herself with a different kind of discipline, and honestly, a lot of people agreed with him on that point. So now let's circle back to Tamar's legal letter, the one labeled, "From the Desk of the Walker Building," which already had folks side-eyeing it. She starts the letter repeating the same promo-like opener. This summer, I poured my heart into Heartbreak Retrograde, a project that includes a 6-song EP and a short film. Then she goes on about how it hit #1 on the iTunes R&B charts and cracked the top 20 overall, saying it meant everything to her and her team, and that the support has been incredible. But then she shifts back into the rumor situation, saying that's why it's been painful to watch a hurtful and completely untrue rumor spread online, accusing her of having an inappropriate relationship with her male co-star. She emphasizes it hard and says, "Let me be clear, this is a lie." She goes on to say it's sad that the moment she achieves something meaningful, certain people jump in with gossip and sensationalism. She adds that the rumors don't just affect her, they hit families, kids, loved ones, people who never asked to get dragged into any of this mess. She tries to frame it like the drama is harming people who weren't even involved, and she says she had hoped by now folks who claim to report responsibly and love their community would actually show better judgment. But the tone of the letter had people confused because it kept slipping between defending herself, pushing the project, and calling out unnamed people, all in one long statement. And with the tension already sky high, this didn't calm anything down. It fired everyone up even more. She closes the statement by saying, "As for me, I'm letting my lawyers take it from here. I'm staying focused on what I love, creating, storytelling, and making music and films that matter." Then she adds, "If you haven't heard Heartbreak Retrograde yet, I hope you'll give it a listen." Like she slid right back into promo mode again, thanking everyone for pushing the project so high on the charts. And honestly, it left a lot of people asking the same question I did. Why did a letter that's supposed to be coming from the desk of attorney James L. Walker Jr. read like a mix between an inspirational Instagram caption and a commercial for her EP? Because nothing in this letter actually addresses anything legal. The only thing she really says is that the rumor is not true, but she never directly names Funky, never specifies what claims she's denying, and never states what legal action is being taken. And if this was truly an attorney-issued letter, wouldn't there be an actual cease and desist attached, something formally sent to Funky? Because it looks like nothing official went out, at least not yet. And of course, Funky responded. But before we even get to his reaction, let's go back to Tamar's original post, because she uploaded that legal letter to her social media and then quickly deleted it. Luckily, Jasmine Brand caught the screenshots, and honestly, so did half the internet, so nothing disappeared. In her caption, Tamar wrote, "People like to trigger me, hoping for me to respond and crash out. That's the old me." She said she always felt the need to defend herself, but this time she's letting her lawyers handle it. She added, "I'm tired, but I'm learning to take my Tamartian's advice, use my voice to talk less and sing more." She ended it with, "That's it. That's all. God bless." Then she thanked her amazing attorney and team who don't lose, shouting out James Walker Jr. Esquire and company. And right after trying to frame this as a serious legal matter, she switched gears again and said, "Now back to big business. Heartbreak Retrograde went #1 on my label." With a kiss emoji like this was a regular promotional post. The tone shift was wild. One minute it's legal talk, the next minute it's motivation, and then suddenly she's celebrating chart numbers like none of this drama is connected. It left everybody confused, entertained, and definitely talking, which might not be the effect she intended, but it's the effect she got. The way Tamar keeps sliding herself into the victim role has folks pulling out the tiny violin every time. But even the imaginary violin tapped out this time. It's like the moment you try to play a little sympathy tune for her, the whole thing just shuts down like, nope, not today. It couldn't even give her a weak note. All right, let's get into what Funky had to say, because his response was a whole situation on its own. We're not playing the full thing. The man went on for almost an hour, letting everything spill. He started off fiery, real sharp with the venom, but as the rant went on, you could hear the hurt come through. He said he genuinely valued the friendship he thought he was forming with Tamar, only for him to step back later and realize, "You were never really my friend." And honestly, anybody watching from the outside could have told him that earlier. But that's just me. Now let me play the part where he talks about Tamar on his social media, because this is where he broke down why he thinks something deeper was going on with how everything unfolded. Yesterday, I made that comparison about the Nicole Murphy situation with the director from Aqua, right? How the paparazzi just so happened to catch them hugged up and kissing a few years back, even though he was married at the time, and people were whispering that maybe Nicole Murphy allegedly set the whole thing up because she wanted that relationship to go public. And that's why Funky brought that example up again. Because situations like that don't always happen by accident. Sometimes people want something seen. Sometimes they want a narrative pushed. He was basically hinting that the way Menace magically showed up, plus how Tamar acted around him, plus the timing with her new project, it all felt way too convenient to be pure coincidence. Funky didn't say Tamar set anything up, but he definitely said the patterns were suspicious. And once he connected the dots, you could see he felt played, not just dragged into drama, but used. This thing is getting deeper than anyone expected. Quay is still with Layla Roshan. He never left his wife, never separated, none of that. So the idea that their moment was supposed to break the internet always sounded wild. And Funky pointed that out too, because at first, even he said, "Why would they think this would break the internet?" That question matters. So then you start digging. Was the hype supposed to come from Menace being involved? But Menace doesn't have acting credits like that. I mean, people know him from reality TV, sure, and maybe some folks count Love and Hip Hop as acting, depending on how you look at it. But still, nothing about the situation screams internet-breaking moment. So the story started sounding even stranger. Then Funky dropped more details, reminding everyone of other moments where Tamar and Menace were together, moments that had multiple witnesses. He even spoke directly to the people who were around during those times and said, "If you were there when Tamar and Menace were together, reach out to me." So now he's collecting information, lining everything up, getting his receipts in order. And then he addressed Tamar directly, saying he doesn't know why she thinks he'd be scared of some legal letter. He said he's not shaking, not backing down, not intimidated, especially when the legal letter didn't even seem to be sent to him officially. Because remember, what Tamar posted was a public statement she put on her social media, then deleted. There's no proof she actually sent him a real cease and desist. And the way she worded it, cease and desist, the same thing she once said on the Braxtons, had people raising eyebrows all over again. So the big question became, did she send anything privately at all, or was the whole thing just for show? Because if it wasn't formally delivered to Funky and was only posted online, that makes it look like this might be performative, more of a public act than a legal move. And honestly, that's exactly what people want Funky to press her on. Is this real legal action, or is she just trying to make it look like legal action so the story shifts in her favor? The whole situation feels layered, confusing, and dramatic. And Funky's not letting up until every piece gets exposed. Funky even asked the real question out loud. Have I received an actual legal letter from Tamar, or did she just post that same statement for the internet to see? Because honestly, if someone sent me that statement, I'd be staring at it like, wait, is this supposed to be legal action? Or is this promo wrapped in legal language? The whole thing reads more like a rollout than a cease and desist, and that's exactly why people were confused. I've read a real cease and desist recently, talked about it already, and trust me, those things look professional, detailed, and direct. What Tamar posted, that was not a cease, that was not a desist. And it definitely wasn't a clear threat of a lawsuit. It was more like a dramatic announcement that left everybody scratching their heads. But Funky made one thing very clear. He is not scared. Not even a little. He stood 10 toes down on everything he said, and he listed every reason why he's not backing off from the story. He even encouraged anyone who witnessed the moments he talked about to reach out, because he may need people to back up some of the details. That tells you he's not just talking. He's prepared to stand by his words. And here's the thing. When all this drama first popped off, a lot of you were hitting me up saying, Menace was at the club that night too. People were connecting dots before Funky even said anything publicly. So now that Funky has confirmed multiple witnesses were around, the story is getting even louder. And Tamar's attempt to shut it down with a half-legal, half-promotional statement is only adding fuel to it. This whole situation is wild, messy, and getting deeper every time someone opens their mouth. Thanks for riding with the full breakdown. And if you want more juicy celebrity chaos served fresh, make sure you subscribe to the JuicyReel channel right now. You don't want to miss what's coming next.
Confessing that although I love my family, most of the time I don't like my family. Everyone in my family.
Take a breath.
Everybody. I feel like I'm angry at everybody in my family. I don't like my family. If they weren't my family, they wouldn't be my friend.
The internet went absolutely wild when Ashley Braxton, the quiet niece nobody ever talked about, finally spoke out. After years of silence, she dropped a bomb that cracked open the shiny image the Braxton family had carefully built with gospel songs, fame, and glitz.
That is your man, as you call it. That is your man. He knew it was a situation with me and you. And he was down. He was down to play op games. I wouldn't take nothing like that serious, my love. That ate my ass, and I sent him on his way. It wasn't, you don't want me to expose how you were saying that you kicked her out and she went back to her mother's house. Not
her voice shook, but her message hit hard. She was done protecting the very people who broke her down as a kid. For once, nobody was gossiping about Toni Braxton's chart-topping hits or Tamar's explosive reality show meltdowns. Nope, the world was focused on something way darker, something the family had buried for years under their perfect smiles.
Not Mrs. Braxton, not Mrs. Singer with the sold-out tour that JR also told me was flex. It was cap. It was she flexing. She don't have no sold-out. Between me and you was his exact words. The tour not sold out. He said you was messy. He said you went back to your mother's house. He told me a lot of things that he shouldn't tell a stranger. I just met this man less than a week.
Ashley wasn't chasing clout, she said. She was chasing closure, and the way she said it sent chills down everybody's spine. She showed up on camera with that calm look you only get after years of crying behind closed doors. She told the world how being 16 and spending one summer with one of her aunts turned into the worst nightmare of her life. Something went down, or almost did, with her aunt's partner, and though Ashley never said any names, fans didn't need her to. The clues were all right there. The timeline, her tone, her trembling voice, it all lined up too perfectly to ignore.
But you can't be thinking you're gonna go have plastic surgery on a Groupon.
Exactly.
Like you,
The
ain't no plastic surgery on sale.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And if it's on sale, 9 times out of 10, you're not supposed to get it from the person that's having a sale on liposuction. Don't do that.
And the worst part, instead of helping her heal, the family decided to hide it. They didn't want drama. They wanted silence. No police, no confrontation, no headlines. They just wanted the world to keep seeing them as gospel royalty while Ashley was left carrying the pain alone. That's when she said, enough was enough. She was taking her story back, and no Braxton was going to shut her up this time. That's the part that broke everyone's heart. Ashley said that instead of wrapping her in love, her own family turned their backs on her. The calls stopped, the invites vanished, and even her father, Michael Braxton Jr., told her to keep quiet. She remembered the moment he looked her in the eye and said, "Zip it up tight." Those words haunted her for years, like a ghost she could never escape. Decades later, she revealed that the same father who once preached loyalty and unity actually threatened her with legal action if she ever dared to speak her truth. Can you imagine? The man who taught her about family first was the same one trying to silence her. The betrayal in her voice was impossible to miss when she said, "I just wanted to be heard, not hushed behind a screen." It sent chills through everyone watching. That's when fans started connecting the dots. The aunt who suddenly cut her off, the partner who made her feel unsafe, and those old whispers about Trina Braxton's messy past marriage that fans always said had way too much chaos. Nothing was officially confirmed, but wow, everything lined up a little too perfectly to ignore. Still, Ashley wasn't out here naming names or trying to destroy anyone's life. She just wanted people to understand how powerful and painful silence can be. Because when a family chooses to protect their image instead of the truth, someone always ends up broken. And this time, it was Ashley. Ashley said the worst part wasn't what happened. It was being blamed for surviving it. That line alone broke the internet's heart. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. Tamar Braxton saw the video, and everything flipped upside down. Tamar, the sister known for speaking her mind, loud and proud, couldn't stay silent this time. She reached out to Ashley in private, and before anyone could blink, she invited her niece to appear on her live podcast. It was the first time in decades that any Braxton had publicly given Ashley a voice, and that move sent shockwaves through the family. Fans were stunned. Insiders were buzzing. And according to those close to the situation, Toni Braxton was furious. To Toni, family business was supposed to stay behind closed doors. No social media, no public talk, no exposure. But Tamar had a different mindset. She believed that healing needed sunlight, not shadows. The moment Ashley showed up on Tamar's podcast, the energy shifted. It wasn't about fame, music, or TV drama this time. It was about truth. Ashley opened up like never before, talking about what it was like growing up in a home where love always came with conditions. She revealed how her mother once removed her name from her birth certificate, how her father stayed distant, and how her stepmother turned their home into a battlefield of emotional pain. Every adult who should have protected her ended up teaching her one painful lesson: to stay silent. "I learned that being quiet kept the peace," she whispered, "but it also killed me inside." Those words hit like a punch to the gut, especially for fans who still remember Tracy Braxton's lonely final years before she passed. Another woman in the family silenced by the same cycle. And while fans were praising Tamar for finally shining light on the truth, Toni's reaction, according to close sources, was nothing short of rage. She allegedly called Tamar's podcast reckless, saying her younger sister was using family pain for clout and ratings. The family feud that started decades ago suddenly roared back to life, and everyone watching knew this was only the beginning of something explosive. Toni Braxton, the calm, collected matriarch who always kept the family looking polished, was terrified of the headlines that were about to drop. Imagine it splashed everywhere. Braxton niece accuses family of a cover-up. That's every PR nightmare rolled into one. Toni wanted it buried fast, craving damage control before things spiraled out of hand. But Tamar, she wasn't backing down. She wanted honesty, raw and unfiltered. Their private phone calls reportedly got so heated that Toni completely stopped answering. One insider even claimed Toni told a producer, "If Tamar wants to run her mouth, let her live with the consequences." That one line said it all. The Braxton house was officially divided. But here's the twist. The public wasn't siding with Toni this time. Everyone was rallying behind Ashley. Viewers saw a woman who had been pushed out by her own family, but still spoke with grace and strength. She didn't shout, didn't throw shade, didn't curse. She just told the truth with trembling hands and a steady heart. Ashley shared how therapy sessions in Europe helped her rebuild herself piece by piece. "I left the country to save my mind," she confessed, and you could feel the pain in every word. Living abroad had become her safe place, far from the noise, far from the whispers. But when tragedy struck and her sister, the one the Braxtons rarely spoke about, passed away, Ashley knew she couldn't stay silent any longer. She had to speak up, not just for herself, but for the sister who never got that same chance. So when Tamar officially announced that Ashley would appear live on her show in Atlanta, the fandom went into a frenzy. Social media exploded, fans were divided, and even longtime supporters couldn't believe that the Braxton family secrets were finally being dragged into the spotlight. Live for the whole world to see. This wasn't just another wild tabloid rumor. It was real, and it was happening in public. Ashley was finally telling her story, and one of the Braxtons, Tamar, was standing right there beside her. In that single powerful moment, the family known for their gospel harmony turned into a courtroom of truth. The internet couldn't look away. Everyone was watching history unfold right before their eyes. Fans went into detective mode, pulling up old interviews of Tony and Trina, dissecting every gesture, every pause, every blink. Was Tony's silence a sign of guilt? Or was it just grief from watching her family fall apart? Nobody could agree, but one thing was crystal clear. This was the most explosive Braxton family drama since Braxton Family Values went off the air. Ashley's words during one interview melted hearts everywhere. She said, "For once, I won't be alone on that stage. I'll have my aunt's hand to hold if I cry." That single line hit like a thunderclap, raw, real, and full of years of pain and longing. Within hours, it went viral across every platform. TikTok, X, Instagram, everyone was talking about it. Tamar responded with a simple red heart emoji under Ashley's post, confirming her support without even saying a word. Meanwhile, Tony didn't post anything. No comment, no like, not even a silent acknowledgement. And somehow, that silence screamed louder than any statement ever could. It became its own headline. Tony Braxton remains silent as niece prepares to speak out. Behind the scenes, things were getting messy. Michael Braxton reportedly warned his daughter again to stay quiet and avoid dropping names, while Trina completely disappeared from social media. Insiders whispered that Tony had even started pulling away from upcoming family projects, afraid that getting too close might drag her straight into the fallout. The Braxton family's perfect image was cracking right before the world's eyes, and nobody knew what would break next. Tamar wasn't backing down. She doubled down. Sources say she told her team straight up, "If the truth breaks us, maybe we weren't whole to begin with." That line leaked online through fan pages and instantly went viral. It became a rallying cry for survivors everywhere, people who saw themselves in Ashley's story and finally felt brave enough to speak too. By the end of that week, what started as a quiet confession had turned into a national conversation about abuse, silence, and the power of forgiveness. Talk shows were debating it, social media was flooded with takes, and even fans who had never followed the Braxtons before were now hooked. For Ashley, this was never about revenge. It was about release. But for the Braxton family, it was a full-blown reckoning. That glamorous brand of sisterhood and success was starting to crumble under the truth they'd all tried to bury. Tamar was getting ready to welcome her niece to the stage, while Tony was reportedly doing everything she could to brace herself for what was coming. The one thing she hated most, losing control of the narrative. Because once Ashley started talking, the question wasn't if the family would respond. It was how far Tony would go to stop Tamar from turning their darkest secret into a public showdown. The night of the podcast felt heavier than a concert. Cameras flashed like crazy outside the Atlanta theater, and fans lined up down the block, whispering wild theories about what Ashley might finally reveal. Inside, the stage lights were dim, golden, and soft. But the tension in the air was thick. Tamar walked out first, sleek hair, sharp outfit, radiating confidence wrapped in compassion. The crowd screamed as she took the mic. "Tonight isn't about gossip," she said. "It's about truth, healing, and courage." The audience roared with applause, but everyone could feel it. This wasn't just another podcast episode. This was a family reckoning dressed up as a live show. When Ashley finally stepped out, the whole room went silent. Her eyes glistened like she had been carrying years of pain, guilt, and silence inside her chest. And in that moment, You could tell something powerful was about to break loose. And this time, Ashley was finally ready to let it all out. Tamar reached for her hand, and that single, quiet gesture said everything. It was loyalty, rebellion, and sisterhood all rolled into one powerful moment. You could feel the love and the defiance bursting through the screen. Ashley took a deep breath, steady but trembling, and began to speak. She never said any names, but the pain in her pauses told the whole story louder than any headline ever could. She spoke about feeling unsafe, unheard, and unseen, about being blamed for things she never did, punished just for being a kid caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. And then came the line that broke everyone's heart. I just wanted someone to believe me. The audience went completely silent. No whispers, no phones clicking, just heavy, aching quiet. Even Tamar's eyes filled with tears she couldn't hold back. It was one of those moments where the truth hit like lightning, raw, painful, and impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, chaos was exploding inside the Braxton circle. Toni Braxton, according to insiders, was livid. Sources said she felt Tamar had turned the family's wounds into a public circus. To Toni, this wasn't bravery. It was betrayal. She allegedly called Michael that same night and snapped, "You need to handle your daughter before this goes too far." But by the time those words left her mouth, it was too far. The footage was already everywhere. Within hours, it went viral. Blogs were breaking it down line by line. Fans were debating every look, every tear, every word. Ashley's truth had already reached millions of ears, and Toni's trademark silence, the shield she'd always used to protect herself, suddenly looked more like guilt than grace. Back on stage, Ashley fought to keep her composure, but you could see her memories pushing through. Her voice cracked as she recalled her father's chilling words, "Zip it up tight." That phrase had haunted her for years, and now she was finally free from it, right there, under the spotlight, with the whole world finally listening. The crowd gasped when Ashley's voice trembled and she said, "I was told to stay quiet, to protect people who never protected me." That line hit like thunder, raw, heartbreaking, and unforgettable. Tamar squeezed her hand tighter, and in that instant, the whole internet exploded. Fans rushed to social media, flooding timelines with messages of support, tagging both Tamar and Toni, demanding answers, demanding accountability. Twitter, or X, was on fire. Some fans wrote, "Protect Ashley at all costs." Others repeated over and over, "Toni can't silence this anymore." It became a chant across the internet, a digital uprising of voices that refused to be quiet. As the show came to a close, Tamar stood up and pulled Ashley into a long emotional embrace. Both women were shaking, from relief, from fear, from everything they had just unleashed. The world was watching two generations of Braxton women face decades of buried truth. Live. Ashley whispered softly, "I finally feel free." And Tamar, tears streaming down her face, whispered back, "You were always free, baby. They just tried to make you forget it." That single exchange sent chills through everyone watching. The audience erupted, some clapping, some crying, some just standing in stunned silence, processing what they had just witnessed. For the first time in years, a Braxton woman wasn't singing a note. She was telling the truth. But freedom, as always, comes with a price. The next morning, chaos erupted behind closed doors. Toni Braxton reportedly called a full-on family meeting. According to one insider, she started with a line that said it all. "We are not turning into another reality scandal. We have Grammy Awards, not gossip columns." Toni wanted control back. She wanted the narrative cleaned up, the damage contained. She allegedly demanded Tamar release a statement claiming the podcast was taken out of context. But Tamar wasn't having it. She stood her ground and shot back. "The context is pain, and we're not erasing it again." That one sentence, brave, bold, and final, reportedly ended their phone call, and maybe even their relationship. The Braxton family's golden image had officially shattered, and nothing would ever be the same again. Behind the scenes, the storm was far from over. Michael Braxton was furious. Sources say he immediately reached out to lawyers, trying to block Ashley from ever mentioning his name again or using the family story in public. But this time, his threats didn't hit the same. The fear was gone. Ashley wasn't that quiet, isolated girl anymore. She had support. Legal teams, fans, survivor networks, everyone was standing with her. Organizations began reaching out, offering resources, and sharing her story as a powerful symbol of breaking generational silence. For the first time, the Braxton family's secret wasn't trapped behind closed doors. It had become a mirror for every family that hides pain behind respectability and polished smiles. As the story spread, major news outlets started picking it up. Tony's camp tried to spin it quick, calling it a private family misunderstanding. But the public wasn't buying that for a second. They had seen Ashley's trembling voice, Tamar's tears, and the raw emotion of that night. Nothing about it felt like a misunderstanding. To fans, this wasn't just another dose of celebrity gossip. It was something real. It was about a black woman reclaiming her story in a world that had told her to stay quiet for too long. And suddenly, that perfect, polished Braxton image Tony had worked so hard to protect started to look fragile, like a diamond cracking under the heat of truth. Days later, Tamar went live again, and she came with that calm but unshakable tone that said she meant business. Family doesn't mean silence. Family means accountability, she said, eyes locked on the camera. It was subtle, but everyone knew who she was talking about. Without naming names, she made her point loud and clear. She wasn't backing down. If being honest makes me the bad guy, Tamar said, then I'll be that. Her words echoed across every platform, and fans flooded her comments with love and fire emojis. The message was clear. The old Braxton family silence was dead, and the truth was finally louder than the fear. After Tamar's live ended, the comment section exploded. Thousands of people flooded in, some cheering her on, calling her brave and fearless, while others begged her to make peace with Tony. But Tamar stayed unmoved. Her loyalty wasn't to the Braxton brand anymore. It was to the truth. No filters, no fake smiles, just raw honesty from a woman who had seen enough. Meanwhile, across the ocean, Ashley quietly returned to Spain. She didn't post any long explanations, no interviews, no drama. Just one simple message on Instagram. You can heal and still hurt. You can forgive and still speak. That line hit everyone straight in the heart. It was powerful, poetic, and final. The kind of truth that doesn't need a headline to make noise. Within hours, the post went viral. Celebrities, therapists, advocates, everyone was sharing it. Even people who had never followed the Braxton family before were suddenly connecting to Ashley's message. She didn't need her family's approval anymore. She had the world's empathy. But while Ashley was finding peace, the Braxton family behind closed doors was falling apart. Insiders say Tony began skipping family events completely, avoiding both Tamar and Michael. The tension was thick. Nobody knew what to say, and everyone was walking on eggshells. Even Trina, who had stayed completely quiet through all of this, reportedly broke down during a family dinner, slamming her fork down and saying, "I'm tired of protecting ghosts." That moment, insiders say, left the whole table frozen. The sisters' bond, once their greatest strength, was now crumbling in private. Years of silence, pride, and pain had finally caught up to them. And while Ashley's courage brought her the peace she had fought for her whole life, the rest of the Braxtons were left staring at the wreckage of a truth they'd spent decades trying to hide. And for the first time in years, the Braxtons weren't the picture-perfect image of gospel and glamour. They were human, flawed, fractured, and finally exposed. The masks were off, and what was left wasn't fame or sparkle. It was truth, raw and unfiltered. By the end of the month, tabloids had a name for it: the Braxton Civil War. Headlines were everywhere, talk shows were dissecting every clip, and social media couldn't stop buzzing. Yet somewhere in all that chaos, there was something beautiful. Because for the first time ever, someone from that powerful family had turned deep pain into purpose. Ashley Braxton wasn't the scandal. She was the silence, finally breaking. She wasn't chasing clout or trying to drag anyone down. She was fighting to breathe after a lifetime of being told to hush. And though Tony Braxton may never forgive Tamar for dragging their truth into the light, the world had already made its choice. They chose honesty over image. They chose Ashley. In her final statement before stepping away from the spotlight, Ashley said words that left everyone speechless. If telling the truth cost me my family, then I guess love was never really there. Her voice cracked, but her eyes stayed steady, clear, brave, and free. With that final sentence, she ended the story not as a victim, but as a survivor who refused to be erased, because no matter how famous the family or how polished the image, the truth always finds a voice. And this time, that voice belonged to Ashley Braxton, the quiet niece who finally said what everyone else was too scared to say. Her courage made the world stop and listen, made people realize that even the most glamorous families can carry the deepest wounds. Behind every perfect photo and award-winning smile, there's a story, and Ashley's story proved that silence doesn't protect anyone. It only hides the pain until someone brave enough decides to speak. So if you've been hooked on this wild Braxton saga, hit that like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to JuicyReel for more untold truths and explosive celebrity breakdowns. You won't want to miss what's coming next.
Tawanda and her husband Sean hopped on live, and the way they were talking about Tamar had everyone watching like, wow. They were really out here calling her a wicked spirit and acting like they don't mess with anyone who moves like that. This wasn't just shade. This was full-on drama exploding right on camera. So let's break this down, because we all know what they were really hinting at. Tamar didn't get invited to that wedding, even though Tawanda originally tried to act like Tamar was supposed to be involved in everything. She pushed this whole story about Tamar dropping the ball, but later the truth slid out, and it was messy.
I really want to give it no energy like that, but I'm gonna speak for myself. Me. This is not her speaking. This is me speaking. I've gotten to a place in my life where things start to transform from face to frequency. That's it. And
Tamar wasn't welcome from the start, and that changes the whole vibe of this situation. But here's where it gets even more wild. Sean is in the middle of this like he's on the front line of a family feud. Why is he even chiming in this hard? This is between sisters, and suddenly he's all loud in the mix like he's the spokesperson for the whole situation. It's giving unnecessary energy, and honestly, someone should have tapped him on the shoulder and said, relax, this ain't your lane. This whole thing could have stayed peaceful, but nope, they took it straight to the internet and let it blow up for everyone to see. The tension, the secrets, the fakery, everything is spilling out now. If you want the tea to keep pouring, stick around, because this story is just getting started. This whole situation was supposed to stay between sisters, but they're the ones dragging it onto the internet like it's a public event. They're out here saying Tamar is some wicked, wicked spirit and acting like she's walking around full of the devil, which is wild to throw around so casually. Meanwhile, people got stories about credit cards being used, the money being borrowed without ever being paid back, but somehow that gets no energy at all. The double standard is loud.
love people, and I love them with as much as I have to give. So if my cup is empty, I'm not going to be pouring to you. I have to go put more in my cup. And what I mean by changing from face to frequency is that you might know somebody, you might grow up with somebody, you might be family members with somebody, you might be friends, you might, whatever it looked like. Cantor Simmons, shout out to Cantor Simmons. He's one of my best men. The faces of who and the realities of relationships fade away, and then you start to be more attracted to the frequency that you are on. And I'm not out here looking for what looks nice. I'm not out here looking for what smells nice or what feels nice. I'm looking for what is frequency nice. So I don't care about none of that anything. If you're not matching that, I will pour into you my extra, but I'm not putting myself at a deficit or letting you like sap all my good energy, make me sad, make me upset, have me engaging in triggers and all of that, and talking down about people or talking gossiping or calling people like they name or fighting or any of that. I ain't doing it, bruh.
Nope.
I ain't doing it. I don't care who you are. I don't care
I don't care if you my mama, my sister, my twin, Jesus, it don't matter.
Yeah.
I ain't spent.
So in that live session they did, they tried to explain why Tamar wasn't around. But instead of just saying the truth, they spun the whole thing like she's the problem every time. They kept pushing this image of Tamar being wicked every way but loose, like they needed the audience to see her as the villain no matter what. It felt more like a performance than a real explanation. And let's be honest, we've all seen how things go down. Every time something blows up, Tamar gets blamed before the situation is even fully understood. They jump straight to pointing fingers, saying her behavior is terrible, saying she's always doing something wrong, acting like she's the source of every issue in the family. It's exhausting to watch. But anyone who watched the show knows the truth. They all like the same way. The drama, the attitudes, the slip-ups, everyone has their moments. The only real difference is that they team up to gaslight Tamar and make her look like the one causing trouble. It's like they found the easiest target and stuck with it every single time. Tamar's opened up so many times about what she went through with her family, including the abuse she experienced, so it always feels strange when they keep painting her as the main problem. They act like she's the storm bringing chaos, but then you look at Tawanda's history and suddenly the picture changes real quick.
I'm talking to the third person. You talk crazy to me, and I'm like, at what point do I defend myself?
You could just get exhausted with the same behavior over and over and over again. I know I was exhausted, and it wasn't warranted, and I'm not excusing it, and I'm not willing to accept that behavior anymore in my life.
Tawanda, you took a girl's credit card and didn't pay her money back, and somehow that never gets treated like an issue at all. How does that behavior get swept under the rug while Tamar gets dragged nonstop? And the wildest part is, people have alleged for years that Tawanda has a habit of taking things, yet the family still circles back to point at Tamar like she's the one causing all the trouble. It's like they're trying to distract everyone by throwing shade in one direction instead of addressing what's actually happening. The whole thing feels off. Then Tawanda has the nerve to say that Tamar is simply exhausting, like she's the one draining everybody around her. I know plenty of exhausting folks, trust me. But one thing I will never do is ask those same exhausting people to lend me $35, $50, $5,000, or anything at all. If someone is so exhausted and full of all these so-called spirits, why are you still going to them for help? That part never makes sense. Because clearly Tamar wasn't too exhausting when it came to her credit card being used.
No, she's not coming to my wedding.
She's not coming to the wedding?
No, she's not.
Are you sure?
I'm so positive.
What do we think about her behavior? The other day.
I think
It was unacceptable.
entirely unacceptable.
I was pretty upset at myself for allowing a situation to affect me that way. I get it. Certain things, even as sisters, I wouldn't necessarily spew out.
People have been saying that Tawanda was allegedly using Tamar's credit card to pay her phone bill. 6 phone lines for 4 years. 4 years is not an accident, that's a system. And on top of that, Tamar gave her money, and for some reason, that money never made its way back to Tamar. How is Tamar the villain when she's the one getting drained financially? And the story doesn't stop there, because the debts were allegedly thrown into a bankruptcy, which is a serious thing. And yes, that bankruptcy is real. It's public record, and anyone can look it up. I even checked it myself before talking about it. If you want the receipts, go watch that breakdown, because the information is all there. If you're ready for more of this messy saga, stay locked in. It only gets crazier from here. They keep claiming Tamar is some nasty spirit, but somehow Tawanda still hasn't paid that lady her money back. How does that work? You can't call someone negative while still holding on to the cash they fronted you. Tamar literally put down your down payment, Tawanda. Yes, she sure did. And all you had to say was thank you, like that was the end of the story. The math is not mathing.
And in 2 seconds on that jump. And I love you and I mean it. I wish the best for you. I hope you find all the happiness in your life. But everybody at this house, them 2 kids and that woman upstairs that I'm responsible for, we not plugging into that. I don't care what it is.
Nope. We're not plugging, we're not pouring, we're not entertaining, we're not doing any of that. And what people need to understand is it's not our responsibility to nurture your triggers. That's no one's responsibility but yours. Period.
Yep.
We're not coddling anything other than peace, happiness, and joy. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And if you can't vibrate up, then you have to vibrate out.
That's it. And here's the thing. This is not coming from a place of hate, meanness. We, I will speak for myself. I sincerely, from the core of who I am, hope that every spirit, soul on this earth finds their purpose, finds their passion, finds the people that support them, finds the people that encourages them, that cheerleads for them, and that they can do that for everyone else in their circle and be led by their source.
Right.
That's
Right.
what I want for everybody.
Right.
I just do. And ain't nothing you gonna do gonna change that. But what I have control over, me, and what I would allow in my space, in my home, on my phone, in my car, like I have a choice to make there.
Yeah.
And that choice is love.
Love.
That choice is peace. I've tried before. I've tried to pull people. I've tried to be like, hey, let me show you. I'm not doing that. And she ain't doing it either. We love you. We rather look towards the hills from what's coming our help.
Come on now. Come on, honey.
It's Good Friday.
Honestly, Tawanda is the one who feels exhausting out here because she always comes off like she specializes in using people and sliding out of paying them back. The clip proves it. When everything wrapped, Tamar said, "Oh, it was a gift." And Tawanda, in that usual sarcastic tone she does so well, made sure Tamar understood exactly what she meant. That whole vibe screamed, "Yep, you gave it to me and I'm not returning a cent." That type of energy tells on itself. And let's keep it real. Using someone's money to buy a house and cover a down payment, then brushing it off like it was nothing, that's wild behavior. Tamar reminded her she was supposed to get that money back, and instead of repayment, the next thing she gets is paperwork from the bankruptcy court. That's respectful on a different level. And yes, that bankruptcy was real and on record. It's not a rumor. Tawanda actually included Tamar in that mess. But then they went live and started calling Tamar negative energy, saying she's carrying spirits and all types of dramatic things. They tried to make it sound like Tamar's this reckless storm blowing through their lives. Yet when you look at the facts, the only real storm is the one around the money and the way everything got handled. The narrative doesn't match the reality at all. This family definitely has issues, no one's denying that, but putting all the blame on Tamar just because it's easy is wrong. You can't twist the whole situation to make her the villain every single time, especially when she's the one who keeps getting taken advantage of. Things are messy, but they're not messy just because of her.
On your down payment.
You sure did. Thank you so much for
And
that.
now that
Thank
you
you
got
so
this
much
little
for the gift.
accident, give me my money back. That was not a gift.
Mr. Guy. Yes, it was. But it's
No, you
okay.
didn't. Tawanda told me her lender needed to see the money in her account and that she was waiting on a check and she would be giving me my money back. I was reluctant, but I said, okay.
Thank you so much.
You said I will pay you back the next day and then you listed me as a creditor.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
So now
Now here's where things get even wilder. Because in this same live, they tried to flip the script again and make Tamar look like she's the one carrying all this chaos. They kept tossing around those negative energy labels like it was nothing, acting like she's the root of every problem in the whole family. But anytime real situations come up, money not paid back, credit lines stretched, shady decisions, suddenly it gets quiet. And somehow Tamar becomes the distraction instead of the victim. It's unbelievable. Tawanda keeps talking like she's above all this, but let's be honest, she moves real slick when it comes to anything involving money or responsibility. One minute she's sweet, the next she's sarcastic, and all of it is just her way of dodging accountability. And the wild part is, she makes it seem like Tamar is the unstable one when Tamar is literally just asking for what's hers back. That's not chaos, that's someone trying to stand up for themselves. And remember, this isn't the first time the family has tried to rewrite the storyline. Every time something becomes inconvenient, they suddenly forget details, switch up the tone, or twist things to make Tamar look like the problem. It's like they've made a group decision that she's the easy target, and they keep running with it like it's a family hobby. It's messy, and it's unfair. But the audience isn't blind, people can see the patterns. Every time Tamar brings receipts or shares her truth, the room gets real silent. People start shifting, mumbling, or trying to change the subject. That alone tells you who's really stirring the pot. The loudest ones pointing fingers are usually the ones hiding the biggest secrets, and this whole situation is starting to look exactly like that. And you already know, once the truth starts cracking through the surface, everything the family tried to hide is going to spill out, whether they like it or not. This drama is far from over. What really threw me off in that live is how Sean would not stop talking, like he was the spokesperson of a family he didn't even grow up with. He only knows what Tawanda told him, so jumping in like he's some inside expert made the whole thing feel extra messy. As a husband, he should support his wife, sure, but he didn't need to be loud in a situation he barely understands. Sometimes staying quiet is the smartest move, and he missed that memo. But of course, Sean kept talking like he was leading the conversation, and Tawanda just nodded along like everything he said was the absolute truth. Then she dropped that line about how it's not her responsibility to nurture your triggers, talking about Tamar's triggers like she's above all that. She really said if someone can't vibrate up, then vibrate out, which sounds cute until you remember the actual situation behind the scenes. Because, let's be real, anybody would have an attitude if they helped someone, gave them money, and then that person kept using their credit card without paying it back. So when Tawanda starts throwing around that vibrate up or vibrate out talk, the question becomes, does that apply to her too? Especially with all the stories about the money, the credit cards, and everything that mysteriously never got returned. That part needs some real clarity. And the truth is, you can't just look at one piece of this family drama and think it explains everything. This family has layers on layers of issues. Every single person has their own mess, their own stories, their own hurt, and their own responsibility in how things fell apart. It's deeper than one argument or one disagreement. This stuff has been building for years. People honestly believe Tawanda is mad and maybe even jealous because Tamar is who she is, loud, successful, recognized, and unapologetic. And you would think Tawanda would have moved past that by now, but somehow she still seems comfortable asking for Tamar's low-energy money. The contradiction is wild, and the public is definitely paying attention. Drop your thoughts in the comments because this situation just keeps getting messier. And if you want more breakdowns, more drama, and more tea, make sure you hit that subscribe button on JuicyReel. You don't want to miss what's coming next.
Guys, a demon just spoke through Tony Braxton, and I'm shook.
Okay, I gotta call you back. I'm about to have Bible study.
Why?
Cause I'm saved.
Well, not church.
Just my
Holy,
faith.
yeah.
Because I'm a person that don't go to church.
Right.
You know?
Guys, a demon just spoke through Tony Braxton, and I'm shook.
The Braxton family always appeared like this flawless, picture-perfect squad. Same voices, same smiles, same shiny TV moments. Like everything was always sweet. But behind those bright lights was a storm nobody on the outside ever imagined. And now, Tamar Braxton is finally pulling that curtain wide open, letting people see the real mess hiding underneath. Tamar has been dropping hints for months, acting like something wasn't sitting right in that family circle. But this new reveal, it hits different. She's not holding anything back anymore. No soft filters, no cute edits, no Hollywood script.
Read the word. Because it's important to know the word. How else we gonna battle all these demons and witchcraft? How else you gonna do it?
There are other books.
Girl, get off of my phone, girlfriend. Get off of my phone. I'll call you back.
I mean, that book was written by racist white.
Girl, goodbye, girl. I'll call you in an hour.
She's talking about how fame didn't just shift things for the Braxtons, it straight up cracked their bond. And right in the middle of this whole story is Tracy Braxton, the sister many fans felt got pushed to the back while Tony Braxton kept moving up the industry ladder. People always whispered about it, but now Tamar is spelling it out loud and clear. For years, Tony Braxton was seen as the powerhouse, the superstar whose success opened doors for everybody else. She had the voice, the look, the awards, the presence, everything that made her the one the industry wanted to spotlight. And let's be real, the music world only ever tries to crown one main star at a time. But Tamar is saying this shine came with shadows. Shadows that hit her sisters in ways the public never saw. She's claiming the family wasn't standing shoulder to shoulder like fans believed. She's calling out how certain people got pushed to the side while others got lifted up. And she's telling it all with zero fear. Everything she's dropping right now has people looking at the Braxtons in a whole new way. This isn't just family drama. This is decades of silence cracking open. But while Toni was climbing toward global fame, her sisters, especially Tracy, were stuck fighting a quiet battle that nobody around them seemed to take seriously. They were struggling in the shadows while the spotlight kept drifting farther away. Now, Tamar is blasting the truth wide open, claiming there were decisions made behind closed doors that didn't just hurt Tracy. They pushed her right out of the picture. And according to Tamar, that moment left a mark on Tracy that she never fully healed from. It wasn't some small disagreement. It was a hit that changed her whole path. Even when the cameras were rolling and fans tried to read between the lines, everybody could sense something was off. You could feel the tension, even when the family tried to smile through it. But Tamar is revealing something way deeper, something that makes it sound like Tracy was pushed aside emotionally, professionally, and personally so that Toni's star could keep glowing without interruption. And the way Tamar is talking about it now feels different. It's not messy drama. It's not attention hunting. No shade for the internet. It sounds like she's finally grieving a truth she tried to bury for years. She's been speaking on interviews and live streams, dropping comments that had fans stunned, making people say things like, yo, maybe the Braxton story wasn't as tight as it looked. People are starting to realize this wasn't a sweet sisterhood fairy tale. It might have been a survival story inside an industry that only lets one person shine at a time. Tamar is hinting that the sisters weren't walking step for step together. Some were getting held back while others got pushed forward. And she's saying all this like she's finally tired of carrying the weight of silence. This whole situation has fans looking at the Braxton legacy with brand new eyes. Every word Tamar drops hits harder than the last. What made Tracy's situation hit even harder was the timing. When the Braxton sisters finally got their first real shot as a group, Tracy was more than ready. She had the voice, the energy, the stage presence, everything needed to stand front and center. But the label stepped in and decided they wanted the sisters, just not her. Tracy was expecting a child at the time, and the executives flipped that into the perfect excuse to cut her out of the deal. That one decision didn't only flip Tracy's career, it changed the whole direction of her life. And Tamar is saying the family went along with it because everyone thought Toni's success was going to open doors for the rest of them later on. But that future lane never came for Tracy. Instead, she ended up pushed deep into the background while Toni became the main face of the family and the whole industry machine started moving in her direction. And the situation wasn't just about fame. It was about money, power, and how the entertainment world loves building everything around one chosen one. Tamar hinted that the people running things around Toni made it clear the Braxton brand had to be centered on one star if they wanted the big push. And when a system works like that, somebody always ends up left standing outside the circle. Tamar's words make it sound like Tracy got caught in the middle of pressure she never asked for. While the industry locked in on Toni, Tracy was stuck fighting for space that never opened up. Fans are now looking back at old moments with fresh eyes, realizing this wasn't just a career setback. It was a long-term wound that changed everything for her. Every detail Tamar shares paints the picture bigger, louder, and more heartbreaking. The story hits different when you realize how easily one choice behind closed doors can change a whole life. Tamar never said the word sacrifice, but she didn't need to. The way she laid everything out had fans putting the pieces together instantly. The picture was loud and clear. Toni's rise didn't come free. Somebody paid a heavy price. And for Tracy, That price was watching the dream she built since she was young slip right out of her hands. Even when the family came back together years later for Braxton Family Values, people could still feel that weight on Tracy. It wasn't something she could hide behind jokes or tough energy. You could see it in her eyes. She wasn't just the funny one, not just the strong one. She was the sister who knew exactly what it felt like to be pushed away from the thing she loved the most, and that pain never left her. Tamar opened up about how Tracy felt like the industry never treated her fairly, like the doors that swung open for everyone else somehow stayed locked when it came to her. And the part that hit the hardest? Tamar said Tracy believed her own family didn't fight for her when she needed them the most. That truth shook Tamar in a way she couldn't ignore. Tamar admitted that the thing that haunts her isn't the fame, the deals, or the spotlight. It's the moment she understood that Tracy didn't need validation from the world. She needed her sisters to have her back. She needed real support, not promises or camera-ready smiles. On the show, people always joked that Tracy had the biggest heart, that she loved hard, forgave fast, and kept trying to hold the peace, even when she was the one hurting. And hearing Tamar talk about it now makes those old moments hit so much deeper. It's like the audience is finally seeing the real truth behind that smile. But Tamar's new comments made fans look at everything with fresh eyes. Suddenly, people realized Tracy wasn't just the peacekeeper. She was the one who ended up paying the cost so the family could even get a foot in the music world. Tamar said it straight without dodging anything. Tracy should have been standing right there with them from the very beginning. She had the talent, the grind, and the dedication, but the industry didn't want her included, and that hit different. And instead of pushing back, the family went along with the plan because nobody wanted to risk losing the opportunity they were finally getting. Tamar said the guilt didn't hit her all at once. It grew heavier every year, like a truth she couldn't escape anymore. When Tracy passed away, Tamar said the world finally saw it for what it was. The sister who got pushed aside deserved so much more. And it wasn't about jealousy or personal beef, none of that. According to Tamar, it was because the industry forced the Braxtons to make a choice, and that choice wasn't fair to Tracy at all. Tamar's voice even cracked when she talked about how Tracy never got all her flowers, not because she lacked talent, but because the door was shut long before she ever had a real chance to walk through it. And now Tamar is speaking loud because, in her words, the world needs to understand that Tracy's story wasn't just some heartbreaking moment. It was a warning, a real warning about how fame can twist things inside a family, how the industry can take loyalty, flip it around, and force people to choose sides they never wanted to choose. Tamar is saying this isn't just old drama. It's about what fame can take from siblings, from love, from something that can't be replaced once it's gone. She's making sure people know Tracy wasn't forgotten by accident. She was left outside because the machine demanded it. And hearing Tamar say that now has fans shaken because it shows how real the pressure was behind the scenes. Tamar didn't hold a single thing back this time. She peeled those layers off like she was tired of carrying the weight. She said that what happened after Tracy got pushed out didn't just stay in the 90s. It followed the sisters for decades. It slid into every reunion, every studio session, every family sit-down they tried to fix like a shadow that refused to leave. Tamar explained that every time the family came together to work, there was this unspoken tension hanging in the room, a tension nobody dared to admit out loud. And here's the wildest part. Tamar claims everybody knew exactly where it came from. Everybody felt it, everybody recognized it, but nobody wanted to be the one to finally call it out. She said Tracy wasn't upset because she didn't become some huge superstar. That wasn't the issue at all. She was hurt because the people she trusted the most didn't stand up for her when it mattered the most. And Tamar is admitting that straight up for the first time, without dodging, without spinning it, just. Tamar said she remembers times when Tracy would show up excited, ready to rehearse, ready to record, ready to be part of the dream again. She came in with hope, with energy, with that fire still lit inside her. And Tamar said, looking back now, that memory hits her with a different kind of pain. because she knows how much Tracy wanted to belong to something that pushed her away. And just like that, the whole vibe would switch up the moment someone from the label stepped in and made it clear that Tracy didn't fit the image they wanted. That line stuck in Tamar's mind for years, fit the image. She said that was the moment she finally understood the industry wasn't just shaping their careers, it was shaping their entire family rhythm too. Tamar revealed that Tracy carried that rejection like a shadow she couldn't shake off. Even when she tried to laugh it away or act like she was keeping the peace, the hurt stayed right under the surface. And when Braxton Family Values finally came around, fans thought this was it, the big redemption arc, the moment all the sisters would shine together like they should have from day one. It looked like the perfect chance to rewrite the past. But Tamar said filming didn't fix things. It exposed more cracks than anything else. She claims producers loved stirring up drama between her and Tracy because the tension was already sitting there waiting. It was decades old, never handled, and way too easy for TV to twist into storylines. And every argument they had on camera wasn't really about what the audience saw. Those moments were old wounds bubbling back up with no place left to hide. Tamar said the yelling, the frustration, the heated moments, they were really about years of Tracy not being heard, not being understood, and not feeling supported like everyone else. It wasn't about fame or spotlight. It was about respect and acknowledgement she never fully got. Then Tamar admitted something she had never said this clearly before. Tracy always felt like everyone else had moved on without her. She didn't get the tours. She didn't get the spotlight. She didn't get the push the others received. Tamar said once the cameras were rolling, she finally realized how deep that pain ran, and it changed the way she looked at everything they went through. Tamar explained that the show didn't reveal new problems, it just exposed the ones that were already sitting there for years. And hearing her talk about it now makes every old moment hit a lot harder. And even when Tracy did every single thing the industry asked for, the dieting, the training, the rehearsals, she still got treated like she was just an extra instead of a full Braxton sister. Tamar said as she got older, she finally understood how unfair that was, and it made her mad at herself for staying quiet for so long. She said Tracy kept showing up, even when she knew the treatment wasn't equal, and that kind of loyalty hits completely different now that Tracy is no longer here. But the moment that shook fans the hardest was when Tamar spoke on Tony's opportunities, the huge ones. Tamar said there were plenty of chances where Tony could have insisted that Tracy be included, whether it was tours, background vocals, appearances, or brand deals. She hinted that Tony's team was constantly pushing her to keep the spotlight clean and uncluttered, like adding Tracy into the mix would complicate the image they were selling. She explained that Tony wasn't allowed to shake up the system, and that pressure ended up keeping Tracy out of rooms she deserved to be in. And while Tamar didn't point a finger at Tony in a harsh way, she didn't hide from the truth either. She said Tony was the only one who had enough power to push back, and sometimes she just didn't. Not because she didn't care about Tracy, not because she didn't love her, but because the industry made her feel like standing up would put everything she worked for at risk. Tamar said that kind of pressure can twist anybody up. When you're told your whole career depends on keeping things perfect, it makes you hesitate even when your heart is telling you to do the right thing. And hearing Tamar admit that now has fans looking at the whole Braxton story through a different lens. She painted a picture of a family caught in a system that forced them to make choices nobody ever should have to make. And in the middle of it all was Tracy, showing up, staying loyal, and trying to belong in a space that never fully opened its doors to her. And that's the part that hit Tamar the hardest, the idea that their eldest sister, the one with the biggest influence, the one whose name carried real weight, didn't realize how deep the situation cut Tracy until it was already too late. Tamar talked about how in later years, Tracy would speak on feeling like she was always trying to catch up, like she missed a train that never circled back for her. And hearing that now breaks Tamar in a way she can barely even explain. Tamar says she finally understands that Tracy never wanted pity. She wanted fairness. She wanted recognition. She wanted respect. She just wanted to feel like she belonged in the same dream she helped build. And Tamar revealed something that shook a lot of people. The family didn't truly grasp how heavy Tracy's pain was until her final years. She said that during those later moments, Tracy started opening up more, letting out feelings she had kept locked inside for decades. Not to restart old drama, not to point fingers, but because she wanted peace before her time was up. And Tamar said one thing she'll carry forever is how Tracy didn't want anyone to feel guilty. She didn't try to blame her sisters for chasing the opportunities in front of them. She simply wished the dream could have included her, too. And that type of strength, holding no grudges after everything she went through, made Tamar see Tracy in a whole new light. Almost like she was the quiet glue the family didn't even realize they needed until she was gone. When Tamar finally spoke up about all this, the internet exploded. Fans started pulling up old clips of Tracy, moments of her laughing, crying, walking away from arguments, or staying silent when things got heavy. And suddenly those scenes looked different. People were rewinding old episodes with brand new understanding, catching signs they didn't recognize before. Social media was filled with comments saying stuff like, "We didn't know she was carrying all that," and "Tracy deserved better." Tamar's honesty cracked open a conversation fans had been whispering about for years, and now it was finally out in the open for everyone to see. And suddenly everything hit completely different. Fans started saying the truth was always right there, and the way Tracy cracked jokes that were really covering hurt, and the way she stayed quiet when she felt disrespected, and the way she kept showing up even when the room made her feel unwanted. And Tamar said that's exactly why she's speaking up now, because she refuses to let the world remember Tracy as the left-out sister. She wants people to understand Tracy was the heartbeat of the whole family. Tamar explained that Tracy deserved way more love, way more protection, and way more recognition than she ever got. And what makes Tamar's words hit so strong is that she's not exposing this to tear the family apart. She's doing it because she wants healing. She said the Braxtons weren't broken because they didn't love each other. They were broken because they didn't fully understand each other. And that misunderstanding kept growing over the years. And now, with Tracy gone, Tamar says she hopes the truth finally helps the family find the closure they never gave themselves. She wants fans to know that Tracy wasn't sacrificed by choice. She was pushed aside by an industry that picks favorites, stirs division, and forces families into impossible decisions they end up regretting for the rest of their lives. And Tamar ended her message by saying Tracy deserved to be honored, not sidelined. She deserves spotlight, support, and protection. All the things that slipped through the cracks while the industry shaped the narrative. And now that everything is out in the open, Tamar hopes people will remember Tracy not as the sister who got left behind, but as the sister who loved the hardest, fought the quietest, and carried a strength nobody truly understood until later. She wants the world to say her name with respect, not pity, to recognize how much she gave, how much she endured, and how much she should have received in return. Tamar said speaking the truth is the only way she can make sure Tracy's legacy shines the way it always should have. And if you're still here listening to this story, hit that support button, join the community, and make sure you subscribe to JuicyReel for more real, raw breakdowns just like this.
Okay, so I want to tell a story today, and that story is about how one of my aunts and my family do not talk to me because they think that I, at the age of 16, did something with her partner at the time. And I have been a nervous wreck to talk about something like this and to tell this story. Because my family.
Tamar just cracked this whole situation wide open, and the Braxton circle is straight up rattling right now. She basically dragged Tony into the spotlight for trying to silence her, and the way she exposed it had everyone stunned. Tamar said Tony sent her a cease and desist the second she stood beside their niece, Ashley, who was speaking on some serious concerns about one of the sisters' husbands. And Tamar wasn't folding for anybody.
Because I don't want people, it's not to hurt people to tell my story. But at the same time, I've been working through this so much. in therapy, and this is something that goes way deep to my core in terms of worthiness and how I feel about myself. And it's been such a journey.
Once Tamar refused to quiet down, people behind the scenes started whispering that Toni allegedly pushed things even further, like she was trying to remove Tamar from the whole Braxton setup entirely, like she could just pretend Tamar wasn't even part of the family machine anymore. Folks forget Tamar is not the one to cross because she came swinging with the truth, saying Toni was out here protecting a PDF file, and that phrase alone had social media spinning. Insiders are saying production turned real tense after that. Rooms felt colder, conversations got shorter, and every move started feeling suspicious. Sisters bumping heads behind closed doors, producers stressing in corners, and people on set whispering that Toni might be putting her whole career on the line just to shield someone else. And if that's true, that raises a whole new set of questions, because nobody understands why Toni is standing so firm for this man everyone keeps asking about. Fans have been screaming for years that this whole situation needed to be addressed out loud, not hidden behind edited scenes and rehearsed smiles. And now that Tamar put everything out there with this kind of force, people are sitting back wondering what Toni is really trying to protect, and why she's willing to push her own sister away over it. Tamar lit a fuse that could flip the whole family storyline upside down, and she's sitting there watching every second explode with full intention behind it. One thing about Tamar, she refuses to be treated like she's invisible, and she made that loud and clear on camera with no hesitation. That's exactly why she stepped straight to Toni at that dinner table, even though everybody else thought it was supposed to be a chill family moment. While the rest of them were sipping drinks and trying to keep the vibe soft, Tamar pulled up with a whole different mission because she wanted the truth out, no matter how wild things got. She looked Toni right in the face and accused her of trying to block her moves, explaining that she planned to bring Ashley onto their podcast so Ashley could share her side and talk about the concerns she had involving one of the Braxton husbands. And according to Tamar, the second, not the minute, the second, she even mentioned bringing Ashley onto the show, Toni hit her with that cease and desist so fast she didn't even get a chance to test the microphone, let alone record a clip. Tamar said it felt like she was being shut down before she could even breathe, and that's what made her start questioning what Toni was working overtime to hide. People online heard the audio and immediately started debating like it was a courtroom, especially since a few viewers tried to say the sisters were just protecting the family. But when Trina and Tawanda stepped into the situation with that energy they brought, it made the whole thing feel way deeper than simple family loyalty. It felt like something had been brewing long before cameras even started rolling. Now fans are sitting here divided, wondering why Toni is this committed to keeping Ashley from speaking on what she experienced, especially when Ashley wasn't trying to attack anybody. She was just trying to explain what she went through. The conversation online is completely split, and people are choosing sides like it's a championship game. Some people think Toni is just being extra because she and Tamar have had tension simmering for years, while others believe Toni knows exactly who Ashley was talking about and is trying hard to shield that man from the spotlight. Social media blew up with comments like, "Toni's anger is suspicious," and others saying Libras get loud when they're trying to distract from the truth. And that had folks side-eyeing everything with serious suspicion, especially since Toni shut down the podcast idea before Ashley even had a chance to say a single word on record. This whole situation is spinning out fast, and the wildest part is Ashley's story isn't even new inside that family circle. The way Toni reacted so strong and so quick had fans convinced she already knew exactly who Ashley was pointing at. And just to keep it clear, Ashley isn't some distant relative. She's the daughter of their older brother, Michael Braxton Jr., so these ties are tight, and the concerns she brought forward were aimed at the partner of one of her aunts. The name being whispered, allegedly Trina. And that's where everything gets even more tangled. There's a whole lot of chatter saying Trina is not happy that her name and her ex-husband, Gabe Solis, keep getting dragged into this storm over and over again. She's reportedly annoyed that old family tension is being pushed right back into the spotlight at a moment when she wasn't even thinking about that chapter anymore. Now that Ashley's story is popping up again and people online are rediscussing everything with fresh eyes, the whole Braxton circle is getting pulled into the same whirlwind. And instead of calming down, the situation is getting heavier and louder with every new detail that surfaces. Ashley once shared that years back, her father and stepmother came across some messages that instantly made them uncomfortable. Messages involving her and her aunt's partner. She said that at first, her aunt was fully supportive, clearly upset that anything uncomfortable had even happened, and she showed real empathy, making sure Ashley felt safe during a confusing and stressful moment. Ashley described it in her own words, saying, "My aunt was there for me. She was very kind, very nice, and was like, 'I'm sorry this happened to you.' She was very kind and it just felt safe." That early comfort made Ashley feel understood, like someone in the family actually saw what she was going through and cared enough to stand by her in it. But as time went on, Ashley started noticing the whole energy around the situation slowly shifting. The compassion she had received in the beginning was fading away, and according to Ashley, it felt like people were suddenly trying to twist the situation back onto her. She said it was like the blame was sliding in her direction, even though she never sought out anything inappropriate, never encouraged anything, and never created any kind of situation that would put her in the wrong. Ashley said the change didn't happen overnight. It was gradual, a small switch here, a different tone there, a new distance showing up where warmth used to be. And then the shift went from subtle to cold because she claimed her aunt eventually stopped talking to her completely. No explanation, no conversation, no closure, just a sudden wall where there was once safety. That silence left Ashley feeling hurt and confused because she truly believed she hadn't done anything wrong. She was a young person placed in an uncomfortable situation, and instead of being supported like she was at first, she said she felt pushed out and blamed for something she didn't start, didn't continue, and didn't understand at the time. Ashley also shared that things started feeling strange with other relatives too, saying they acted extra friendly with the man involved, like none of those uncomfortable moments had ever happened. She said it felt surreal, like everyone else was moving around normally while she was carrying the weight of something heavy on her spirit. It left her feeling isolated, punished, and misunderstood at a time when she was just trying to make sense of everything that had happened around her. And when Ashley finally opened up publicly, some people online immediately tried to label her as someone chasing attention, which only made things messier. But plenty of others pushed back, saying she was simply speaking her truth after staying silent for so long, and she had every right to tell her side openly without being attacked for it. Once people started believing Ashley's story, a bunch of viewers instantly jumped to assuming she was talking about Tamar, just throwing guesses without knowing the facts. But Tamar shut that rumor down instantly, with zero hesitation. She let everybody know she was not the aunt in question, and she wasn't letting her name get tied to something she had nothing to do with. Tamar made it clear she actually wanted Ashley on the show because she genuinely cared about her well-being and wanted her to speak her truth safely. Tamar even mentioned she supported Ashley when she shared that she was going to therapy to work through everything she had been dealing with, and people respected that honesty. Once Tamar cleared her name cleanly, fans went right back into detective mode, connecting dots on their own, trying to figure out which Braxton sister Ashley was referring to. And even though nobody in the family officially confirmed anything, online watchers were convinced the situation pointed toward Trina and her ex-husband, Gabe Solis. The comments turned into threads, the threads turned into theories, and the theories turned into full-blown debates as people tried to piece together a timeline. Now the whole conversation has shifted into something way bigger, with folks revisiting old scenes, old interviews, and old family dynamics like they're reviewing evidence in a case. And with Ashley's story resurfacing again, everyone is looking at the family in a new light. Not because they want drama, but because they want clarity on something that clearly left deep emotional scars for her. A lot of people weren't shocked when Ashley spoke up, because there had already been years of rumors floating around about Gabe having unusual behavior and interests that never sat right with viewers. Folks who watched the show from the early seasons remembered all the chaos Trina went through with Gabe, the ups, the downs, the breakups, the makeups, and yet she stayed in that marriage for a long time. So fans felt like there was a real chance she might have known more than she ever shared in public. And when Ashley said she eventually got cut off by her aunt, people felt like that detail made the whole picture even messier, like there was way more going on behind the scenes than anyone wanted to admit. Then Ashley added fuel without saying a single word. On TikTok, someone commented that she must have been talking about Trina and Gabe, and Ashley didn't respond, but she liked the comment. That one little tap sent the internet spinning into a whole new theory spiral, but it didn't stop there. Things got even wilder when someone on Instagram commented on a now-deleted post claiming they knew it was Trina and Gabe, and they even included an unverified story about Gabe allegedly trying to connect with a younger family member of theirs online. We cannot confirm any of these claims, and they remain strictly allegations tossed around by random users online. But the internet doesn't wait for confirmation anymore. People still ran with it like the information had been stamped and approved, and before long, the entire situation exploded across timelines. Every little detail fans thought they pieced together just made the conversation louder, more chaotic, and way more intense. Folks started digging into old clips, old interviews, old comments from years ago, trying to find anything that matched what Ashley had said. Then, there was that person who claimed they were at an airport when something went down between Gabe and someone else. They said they even tried messaging Ashley to warn her about what Gabe was supposedly doing, but claimed they got blocked before they could share anything. That story wasn't verified either, but it didn't matter. It spread like wildfire because people were already in detective mode. By this point, the situation was no longer just drama. It had turned into a full-blown internet investigation, with everyone trying to tie together bits and pieces of hearsay, old family tension, and Ashley's new statements. And every time someone added something new, the entire conversation got even louder. Gabe has passed away now, and the spotlight has shifted hard onto Trina because people online keep saying she knew exactly what type of behavior he showed during their marriage and stayed anyway. Even with all the cheating rumors that followed him for years, folks in the streets have been whispering that she ignored a lot of his actions and brushed off things she didn't want to deal with, choosing to point fingers elsewhere instead of holding him accountable. Back in the day, gossip blogs would drop little hints claiming Gabe was involved with different people and had some unusual habits behind the scenes, though none of that was ever officially confirmed. But either way, those stories didn't stop Trina from standing by him throughout that relationship, and that decision is exactly why the internet is pressing her today. At first, Tamar was trying to bring Ashley onto the show so she could speak for herself and explain what she experienced, but allegedly Trina wasn't having any of that. Reports say she even threatened to stop filming completely if Ashley appeared, saying it wasn't Ashley's place to discuss it publicly. So Tamar switched gears and tried to bring Ashley onto her podcast instead. But right when she made that move, Tony stepped in again and blocked it before it could even happen. What really shocked fans was hearing that Trina supposedly had no idea Tony sent that cease and desist. And that raised a whole new question for viewers. Was Tony doing all this to protect Trina, or was she trying to protect herself from the fallout? The second that rumor hit the timeline, people started breaking down every moment. Tony acted quiet or distant, trying to figure out her motive. Whispers from people close to the situation claim Tony allegedly knew about some of the issues Ashley talked about, and instead of stepping in back then or smoothing things over, she stayed silent and let the situation hang in the air. And that silence is exactly what fans are dissecting right now, because they feel like Tony's reactions today are way too strong for someone who had nothing to hide. A lot of viewers believe Tony moved with urgency because she didn't want certain conversations resurfacing, especially ones connected to that old family tension that everybody thought was buried. And now the internet is asking whether Tony went into full protection mode out of loyalty to Trina, or whether she was worried that Ashley's story would open the door to questions she didn't want to answer. Every time someone online tries to break it down, the situation gets louder because people can't wrap their heads around why Tony would take such a big risk just to shut Ashley out. That claim alone has the whole fan base looking sideways and wondering what else really went down behind closed doors. People close to the situation say Tony looked the other way back then, which means she might be protecting herself now more than anybody else. The last thing she wants is Ashley calling her out for supposedly being an enabler, and that would explain why she threw that cease and desist at Tamar with no hesitation. Everybody already knows Tony and Tamar have been clashing for years, and folks say their arguments behind the scenes have gotten seriously intense. So when Tamar started pushing hard for Ashley to come on the show and speak her truth, Tony got so heated she reportedly walked straight off set without looking back. One insider even claimed producers had to shut the whole filming day down after a heated fight broke out between Tamar and her sisters. They were supposed to be gearing up for season 2 this summer, but the drama spiraled so wildly that nothing stayed on schedule anymore, allegedly. Crew members were stressed, cast members were picking sides, and the energy on set was getting heavier every week. What was supposed to be a smooth rollout turned into a storm nobody could calm. Then Tony tried to flip the narrative by saying she wanted to honor their late sister Tracy and didn't want Ashley on the show out of respect for her memory. But according to one report, Tony stormed off the set during taping because she's exhausted with the constant arguing, constant rumors, and constant pressure the situation brought to the table. People online didn't buy the honoring Tracy spin at all because the timelines weren't adding up. They felt like Tony was reaching for any explanation she could use to cover up the real reason she didn't want Ashley speaking on anything. Fans started saying it looked more like Tony was trying to keep certain conversations from resurfacing. Conversations that could drag the whole family back into a spotlight they never wanted again. And now the fan base is louder than ever, watching every move and waiting to see who's telling the truth. Because the way Tony reacted this time felt way too personal, way too urgent, and way too emotional for something she claims is just about respect. The sister conflict got so deep that Tony supposedly told people the family made a promise when Tracy passed. They said they'd stick together no matter what. But instead of getting closer, things have gotten worse than ever, and everybody can see it. It got so messy that not a single sister showed up to the premiere of Tamar and their mother Evelyn's cookie show, and fans took that as a loud message all by itself. They kept their distance like it was some kind of silent punishment toward Tamar, making it clear the family bond is cracking right in front of everybody's eyes. And honestly, it looks like the sisters are slowly pushing Tamar out of the circle completely, whether they admit it or not. Just look at Tawanda's wedding. Tamar was the only sister who didn't show up, and fans have been side-eyeing that situation ever since. Tony and Trina were standing right next to Tawanda as bridesmaids, which made Tamar's absence stand out even more. And Tawanda didn't hide the fact she didn't want Tamar at the wedding in the first place, so the tension wasn't exactly subtle. Tamar didn't pretend either. She had a singing gig that same weekend, and she made sure everyone knew she was out handling business and securing her bag instead of sitting in any room where she wasn't welcome. But right after all that wedding drama, Tamar wiped her social media clean and went on a raw, emotional rant where she said she regretted ever doing reality TV in the first place. She disappeared for a moment like she needed to breathe, only to pop right back online the next day with even more to say. Her tweets were intense, full of real emotion, and she straight up called her family toxic to the core. She wasn't sugarcoating anything anymore, and she made it clear she was done pretending everything was okay just for the cameras. Fans were shocked, because even though Tamar has always spoken her mind, the way she laid things out this time showed just how tired she is of the drama, the silence, the secrets, and the shade coming from inside her own family. And with the way things are going now, people online are starting to wonder if the Braxton sisters will ever fix this. Or if this is the moment the whole family dynamic falls apart for good.
Are you guys a couple?
Well, T, that's my girl, my friend, my family.
Do you have sex?
That's my love, my soldier, my life. She my everything, and I trust her.
Because you bought her a Bentley truck.
Yes.
So the implication is that's your girlfriend.
She my life.
From secret weddings to sudden breakups, and from shady denials to mysteriously missing jewelry, Toni Braxton and Birdman's relationship has been a wild ride, more twisted than a Six Flags roller coaster.
Saying, Birdman doesn't know if he's a blood or a crip, or this, this gay thing and that gay thing.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
He was saying that you was gay.
Come on, man. Come on, man. I'm a straight gangster, man. That nigga been in my hood. He know what's happening with me. You hear me? Nigga know what's happening with me, man. Google me, man. Call anything in the 504 and ask about me. Google me, man. Watch what come up. Yeah. Straight G.
This love story has had everything: passion, confusion, and a touch of chaos. And today, we're diving deep into this hot, tangled mess. Back in 2001, Toni tied the knot with Carrie Lewis from Mint Condition. Things seemed picture perfect at first. The music, the fame, the love, but it didn't take long for cracks to show. Then, just a year later, in 2002, she crossed paths with
Tracy is the one who said to me, Toni, when you make it, you can help us come on. So I always try to abide that. But the responsibility of it is so heavy for me. I feel I can never live my life, and I never used to say it. I never used to say anything to anybody, but since we've been doing this show, I've been saying.
None other than Brian Birdman Williams, the big boss of Cash Money Records. That meeting right there, it changed everything. Sparks flew, rumors started swirling, and the industry began whispering about this unexpected duel. And baby, from that moment on, nothing was ever the same. Who is this mystery man, you ask? None other than Birdman, the co-founder of Cash Money Records, the same powerhouse label.
Like a lot of people don't understand, my second bankruptcy is because I was sick. I have lupus, and my show in Vegas got canceled.
And the insurance wouldn't cover it.
The insurance didn't cover it, so I had to pay myself.
Right. That's a lot. That was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money. But people don't understand. If you see a concert, you see the lights, you see the band on stage, the artist space, the hotel rooms, the salary. So then you have nothing.
That dropped the iconic hit, Baby, You Can Do It. And if you've seen that music video, then you already know. The chemistry between Toni and Birdman was straight up electric. It was wild. It was magnetic. It was giving something's going on here. Vibes for sure. But of course, they swore it was all strictly professional. She was still married at the time. And Birdman, well, he was out there doing his own thing. And only God knows what that was. Out here locking lips with Lil Wayne on camera like it was nothing. What in the Damon and Marlon Wayans parody is going on here? Tony tried to keep her personal life steady though. After having 2 beautiful children, she and Carrie Lewis decided to call it quits. The marriage was done, but they wanted to end things with class. In her memoir, which you can check out below, Tony revealed they made a pact to stay cool for the kids. They even continued living under the same Atlanta roof and promised to take one family vacation together every single year. 1 vacation a year with your ex. Oh hell no, that's a plot twist nobody saw coming. Even Tony's mom was like, girl, it's time to mix it up. Maybe try dating outside your type, basically telling her to play in the snow. But Tony wasn't ready. Her heart was still healing, and she wasn't about to rush into another messy romance just yet. Still, destiny had other plans. And Birdman wasn't exactly the kind of man who stayed in the background for long. Maybe the real reason Tony wasn't ready to date again was because she and Carrie had started sneaking around for round 2. Yep, they gave love another shot, but that spark burned out fast. After about 1.5 years, it was over for good. When the divorce papers hit, things got messy. Tony had to pay him alimony, while Carrie was ordered to drop $2,000 a month in child support. Wait a minute, alimony and child support? Girl, that's a double hit. This right here is exactly why they say, make sure he's got more money than you. Because a grown man cashing checks from a woman like Toni Braxton, that's wild. After that fiasco, Tony decided to take her mama's advice and switch things up. She dipped her toe into new territory and started dating a white man. And by February 2012, the headlines were screaming that she was linked to none other than Eddie Murphy. Yep, that Eddie Murphy. But just when people thought this could be something real, it fizzled out quick. Fans started rooting for her and Babyface to become a thing. The chemistry was undeniable. But Tony shut it down on The Breakfast Club, saying Babyface would never see her in that light. Dang, talk about the friend zone. Then out of nowhere, she stepped out with the most unexpected man ever. Birdman! Nobody saw that coming. They hit the red carpet in 2016, and the world went silent for a second before everyone collectively screamed, wait, what? Months into dating, Birdman went full flex mode and gifted her a Bentley SUV, luxury on wheels, Bobby. By January 2018, they dropped their track, Hard Away, giving fans a musical peek into their whirlwind romance. Then boom! Just a month later, Birdman dropped down with a ring, and Tony said yes. But wait, what about Carrie? Was he back at the house popping champagne, celebrating her engagement too? Tony told E! Daily Pop that Birdman was ready to lock it down. He told her straight up to pick a wedding date ASAP because he wanted to be a married man before the year was out. But guess what? That wedding never happened. The months rolled by, then the years, and Tony kept pushing the date back over and over, blaming it on work commitments. That sounds like a polite excuse if you ask me. People started whispering that maybe she wasn't too eager to marry a man with Birdman's unique reputation. Folks joked that she didn't want to wake up next to a dude who looked like a mix between a bird and a pit bull every morning. Maybe that's why those wedding plans kept getting delayed again and again. Then came the real jaw-dropper. While flying from New York to Los Angeles on a Delta flight, Tony accidentally left her Louis Vuitton train case behind on the plane. Inside that fancy little box, her massive yellow diamond engagement ring, worth a staggering $5 million. How do you forget something like that? Who leaves a small fortune sitting in a carry-on bag? That's beyond careless. The next day, the airline found the case, but when they opened it, all the jewelry was gone. Poof! Vanished into thin air. When Birdman later sat down with Wendy Williams, he tried to play it cool. He said he wasn't even sweating the missing ring. Told her straight up he'd just buy Tony another one if he needed to. That's some serious big money talk right there. But still, that missing bling became the talk of the town, and it left a whole lot of people wondering if their relationship was starting to lose its shine too. Oh, with Lil Wayne's money that you still owe him, huh? The shade writes itself. Then came January 2019, and boom, the drama hit social media like a storm. Tony and Birdman unfollowed each other out of nowhere, and Birdman added fuel to the fire by posting "It's over" on his Instagram story. Real dramatic energy. Folks were quick to assume the engagement was dead and gone. Birdman was out here acting emotional, like a man mid-R&B heartbreak ballad. But a few months later, he tried to clean it up, telling Wendy Williams the whole breakup was just a publicity stunt. Yeah, okay. According to a source from Hollywood Life, the couple wasn't sweating the rumors. In fact, they didn't mind the public chaos one bit. Why? Because all that buzz kept Tony's reality show, Braxton Family Values, trending again. The more people talked, the more views rolled in. A little drama for ratings never hurt, right? By April 2020, during the pandemic lockdowns, fans were still waiting for wedding bells, but nothing. Tony went on the Rick and Sasha show and admitted that she and Birdman kept going back and forth about wedding plans. They'd set dates, but things always got too big. Birdman even suggested they just do a drive-through wedding. Can you imagine Tony Braxton saying, "I do" in a car while picking up fries? No way. She shut that down quick. Years kept slipping by, and still, no wedding, no ring replacement, no nothing. Then out of nowhere, in December 2023, a messy online source claimed Tony and Birdman had finally tied the knot. Fans lost their minds, headlines were everywhere. But before anyone could celebrate, Tony jumped on Instagram and cleared it up herself. She reposted the announcement with a sharp caption that shut it all down. "My dear friend, Birdman and I are not married. Never been married." And just like that, she snatched the truth back from the rumor mill. But the damage? Oh, that was already done. "We are both single now." That's what Tony said, officially putting Birdman straight into the friend zone. By April 2024, it was crystal clear that their on-again, off-again roller coaster had finally screeched to a stop. She opened up to People magazine saying she was actually enjoying the single life. Tony said, "I'm looking forward to getting out there and dating." I mean, dating can be scary too. It can be a little bit, but a nice guy. Someone who will watch Lifetime with me all day long, or at least once in the week. Girl, you don't need a man for that. You can call your sisters for a Lifetime marathon. Her fans were split right down the middle. Half of them were celebrating, happy that Tony had finally left Birdman and his drama behind. But the other half, they weren't buying it for a second. They swore she'd be back with him before the year was over. And guess what? They might have been right, because in April 2025, TMZ dropped a bombshell. Just 4 months after that whole "I'm single and ready to mingle" interview, the outlet reported that Tony and Birdman had actually gotten married. Wait, what? I know you lying. Or maybe she's lying. Either way, somebody's out here playing with our emotions. Because just when fans started wrapping their heads around this surprise wedding news, boom, another twist hit. The happy couple didn't even last a month. According to legal documents obtained by TMZ, Tony filed for divorce a mere 2 weeks later, listing their official separation date as August 10th, 2024. 2 weeks? That's shorter than some trial subscriptions. After years of ups, downs, rumors, and million-dollar rings, it all ended in paperwork. No more maybes, no more makeups, no more mystery. Tony Braxton and Birdman's love story went from glitzy and glamorous to gone in a flash. Tony's lawyer officially called the marriage irretrievably broken, which sounded like the end of the road. But hold on tight, because it gets even messier. Somebody, please hand me my margarita. And don't forget the peach rings. You know I toss those right in the glass. It's my therapy drink for when celebrity drama gets this wild. Just when everyone thought the split was final, boom, a shocking twist dropped in January 2025. Tony suddenly dismissed the divorce petition and Birdman actually signed off on it. Wait, what? After everything, the back and forths, the emotional interviews, the $5 million ring fiasco, they're still legally married. But here's the kicker. Nobody knows what's really going on between them now. Neither one has said a word publicly. And that silence? Oh, it's loud. So here we are, Years of breakups, reconciliations, and postponed weddings, and this love story is still hanging by a thread. Considering how it all started with secret studio chemistry, flashy gifts, and rumors flying left and right, it's giving major unfinished business energy. Are we seeing red flags all over again, or are people just jealous that Tony's still the one catching Birdman's attention while he's doing his Birdman thing? Bestie, you so messy, someone's probably saying right now. But let's be real, this saga's too wild not to talk about. Drop your thoughts down below, because this story might not be done yet. And hey, before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on JuicyReel, where the tea never stops spilling and the drama's always hot. Let me tell you something, and listen close, because I've watched every Braxton show there is. I've seen the drama, the tears, the laughter, all of it. And this right here, this is just my opinion, but I think there's way more to Tony and Birdman's situation than people realize. See, Tony's been open about her lupus for years. That illness takes a real toll on the body. On top of that, she's battled heart issues that scared her fans half to death. So maybe, just maybe, she's not marrying out of romance anymore. Maybe she's thinking about security. Here's how I see it. Tony might have tied herself to Birdman because she wanted to make sure someone powerful was in charge of her estate if anything ever happened to her. Someone who could handle her finances, protect her kids, and even look after her family, her sisters, her mama, the whole Braxton crew. And let's be real, they all got money, but none of them got Birdman money. The man's pockets are deep, like never worry about another bill again. Deep. And you know what? Maybe this whole thing isn't about love in the traditional sense at all. Maybe it's more of a quiet arrangement, a mutual understanding between two people who know exactly what they're getting out of it. Some people might even call it a lavender marriage type of deal, a partnership built more on loyalty, protection, and power than passion. Whatever the truth is, one thing's for sure, this story is layered, and we might not ever know the full truth behind those wedding rings and business moves. Now, if that theory's true, it actually makes a lot of sense. Tony's a smart woman, and she's been through too much to let her legacy fall into chaos. She's been grinding in the music industry since the 90s, building her name brick by brick, hit after hit. So if she decided to make a business type move with Birdman, that could have been her way of securing her empire and protecting her loved ones. Still, people can't help but whisper about the real dynamic between them, because Birdman has always been, well, mysterious. He moves like a man who's got 10 different versions of the truth. One minute, he's all about love and loyalty. The next, he's out here with cryptic posts and shady smiles. Some folks swear he's hiding something, others think he's just misunderstood. Either way, Tony's no fool. She knows what kind of man she's dealing with. And you can't deny they've always had this strange magnetic pull, like they can't fully let go of each other, no matter how many times they try. And let's not forget how this whole situation looks from the outside. Tony's fans are split down the middle. Some say she's sacrificing too much just to stay connected to him, while others think she's playing chess, not checkers. They say she's keeping her cards close, setting up her future in a way only a true diva could. Still, every time we think it's over for good, something drags them right back together. A public sighting here, a cryptic emoji there, or a casual repost that sets social media on fire. It's like they can't quit each other, no matter what. So what's next for Tony and Birdman? Another reunion? Another heartbreak? Or maybe this was the plan all along? A relationship built on secrets, survival, and just enough love to keep the world guessing. Whatever's really going on behind those designer shades, one thing's for sure, this story ain't done brewing yet. See, the truth is, Tony and Birdman have been good friends for a long time. That's why I think they kept everything low-key when they tied the knot, if they really did. They didn't want every camera flashing in their faces or social media turning it into a circus. Their bond runs deep, and they've been riding for each other through all the chaos and rumors. But here's the thing, maybe Tony's still got that tiny voice in her head wondering if her real forever love might still be out there somewhere. Maybe she's thinking, one day I might meet a real king, or even a prince, someone I'm actually drawn to, someone I want to wake up next to every day. Still, at the same time, she knows time isn't exactly on her side anymore. She's been through heartbreak, illness, and fame. She's seen it all. So maybe she just wanted to lock something in that made sense on paper. And when I say civil, I don't mean nice, I mean legal. She might have said, you know what? Let's do this the smart way. So if anything ever happens, my kids, my estate, my legacy, all of it stays protected. It's not about romance at that point, it's about strategy. Now I can already hear folks saying she could have just set up a trust. She didn't have to marry him for that. And yeah, that's true. But who really knows what's going on behind closed doors? I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an estate planner. I'm just calling it how I see it. Maybe Tony's playing long game moves we can't even see yet. What do you think? Is this love, loyalty, or just smart business? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more wild celebrity tea, only on JuicyReel.
Man for? You think I'm too? Huh?
Don't you go there.
Don't you? Man. Your man.
Don't you
go there. First of all, a superstar. You want to put your hands on me. I didn't touch you. I didn't touch you. I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
Tony, this is unacceptable behavior. I had to try to de-escalate it as much as I could. I didn't touch Tamar. I got in between she and Tony because Tony's smaller than Tamar. That's like a Rottweiler trying to fight a Yorkie.
Can someone please just pull the plug on the Braxton sisters reality TV chaos already? This family has turned every season into a battlefield with no peace in sight.
Y'all don't like me because y'all jealous. You're a mean girl. Y'all you're such a hater. Y'all hate me so bad. Oh my God. Mental illness is real. It's real. Oh, I'm crazy?
Mental illness is real. Go ahead, Tony. I'm listening. I don't argue with sick people. Go ahead.
Bitch, I will you up. Don't play
don't
with me.
do that.
I swear to God. But you're not going to do it for my mental health when all y'all really need to pick.
They've cycled through more therapists than most people change hairstyles, yet somehow the drama keeps exploding louder every time. It's like therapy sessions turned into war zones instead of healing circles. Tony and Tamar are back at it again, throwing verbal punches left and right. Tamar went off, asking Tony if she really slept with that other man, and the whole room froze. Then someone dropped another bomb, allegedly Birdman too. Like, seriously? Tawanda even jumped in, accusing Tony of messing with her own ex, which sent everyone spiraling.
And
who's the man that I stole?
Tony's. You slept with them a few times.
Who? What man?
Do not get talking about the Versus battle where Birdman, Manny Fresh, and other Cash Money artists hit the
shade, the tension, the absolute nerve. Now things have gotten so wild that they're threatening to have Tamar locked up. She's gone from emotional to explosive, screaming, crying, and lashing out like she's had enough of everyone's fake love. And Tony, she's not even playing the peacemaker anymore. Her calm queen energy has turned into straight coldness. Everyone's masks are slipping, and we're seeing who's really who in that family drama. The Braxton family feud has gone from entertaining to pure madness. No lines, no limits, and no turning back.
But her sister Tamar was loud and proud in the middle of the stage with her brother-in-law, and she was not only seen twerking and bopping her head to all the hits played from both sides.
Each sister's got secrets, and they're dragging each other through the mud on national TV. It's messy, emotional, and addictive. You can't look away for even a second. If there's one thing Tamar got right, it's that this whole family might need a serious mental health check and maybe a prescription or two, because the way these sisters been acting lately, it's not even close to normal. Nothing about their behavior screams peace. It's pure chaos, non-stop. Every episode feels like a breakdown waiting to happen. Now let's get into this wild Birdman situation, because that's where the drama really popped off. During one episode of The Braxtons, Tamar showed up to dinner with that "I know something y'all don't" look and started grilling her sisters about a cease and desist letter she mysteriously received at her private address. She wasn't even mad about the letter itself at first. It was how they got her new address that made her lose it. See, Tamar swore up and down that her home was under a different name for privacy, like most celebrities do, so for someone to get that info, someone close had to snitch. Fans online immediately started pointing fingers at Tawanda, Trina, or even Tony, accusing them of leaking her address. The family group chats must have been on fire that night because the tension on camera was unreal. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. The family's own attorney confirmed that Michael Braxton Jr., their brother, was actually the one who sent the cease and desist. The reason? They brought their niece Ashley onto the show without his blessing. But that reveal didn't calm Tamar down one bit. Instead, she exploded, saying it wasn't even about the letter anymore. It was about her sisters scheming behind her back. And just like that, what started as a dinner talk turned into a full-on Braxton battlefield. Voices raised, hands flying, tears, accusations, pure madness. 1 minute it's about a letter, the next it's about betrayal, and suddenly everyone's dragging everyone. This family doesn't argue. They erupt. Things went from bad to straight explosive when Tamar started accusing Tawanda of stealing from her for years. Tamar claimed she had loaned Tawanda a whopping $50,000 to help with a down payment on a house, but Tawanda fired back saying it wasn't a loan at all. It was a gift of $35,000. That's a huge difference, and it didn't stop there. Tamar then dropped another bomb, saying Tawanda had been secretly using her credit card for 4 years to pay her own phone bill. Can you imagine? But Tawanda wasn't about to stay quiet. She flipped the whole thing and called Tamar the real thief. And then came the nuclear-level accusation. Tawanda said Tamar had slept with one of Tony's ex-boyfriends. The producers had to literally bleep out the name during the show so no one knew exactly who she was talking about. But that didn't stop fans from playing detective. Online, people started buzzing that the mystery man might have been Shamar Moore, one of Tony's old flames from way back. Others swore it was Birdman, claiming the affair went down years ago and just got buried under family drama. The theories were flying wild, and everyone had their own version of the truth. Then on the show, Tamar directly confronted Tony, asking if she really slept with her other man, and Tony's face said everything. That awkward silence, that look, it was giving pure Birdman vibes. Fans watching went crazy, convinced Tamar was throwing real shade right there on camera. And here's where it got even messier. Just days before this aired, fans were already side-eyeing Tamar for being too friendly with her brother-in-law, Birdman. It all happened at that Versus battle in Las Vegas when Birdman, Manny Fresh, and the Cash Money crew went up against Master P and No Limit. Cameras caught Tamar laughing, touching, and acting a little too cozy backstage, and social media exploded with clips. People were like, wait, is this the same Birdman Tony's with? The timing couldn't have been worse, and the Braxton family drama just hit a whole new level of scandal. Toni Braxton was nowhere to be seen on that stage, but her sister Tamar, she was front and center, owning the spotlight like it was her show. Cameras caught her dancing right next to Birdman, her brother-in-law, and fans could not believe what they were seeing. Tamar was twerking, laughing, and vibing hard to every track from both sides of the battle. But what really had people talking was how comfortable she looked with Birdman. At one point, she even leaned in to wipe sweat off his head, and that clip went viral in seconds. The internet exploded with outrage. Comment sections were flooded with fans saying, "Ain't no way that's okay, and you don't touch your sister's man like that." The whole thing spiraled fast. People were calling it disrespectful, messy, and downright suspicious. Tamar didn't say much at first, but her body language told the world she wasn't worried one bit. Then came the real plot twist. Rumors resurfaced that Tamar and Birdman actually dated way back in the early 2000s, long before Tony ever got with him. Back then, it was all hush-hush talk, just whispers floating around the industry. But insiders claimed the two were definitely close, maybe too close. Nobody had proof, but the way they moved together that night had fans saying, yeah, something's up. And honestly, when you put it all together, it suddenly makes sense why Tamar seems so comfortable around Birdman. That kind of chemistry doesn't come from nowhere. If those old rumors are true, it flips the whole situation, because that would make Tony the one who crossed the line, not Tamar. Imagine finding out your sister dated the man you're with now. That's wild. The Braxton drama just keeps getting deeper, and this one might be the most scandalous twist yet. Now here's where things take a shocking twist. Turns out Toni Braxton and Birdman actually got married, but what happened next had everyone's jaws on the floor. According to leaked court documents, the two secretly tied the knot on August 8th, 2024, but just 48 hours later, yes, 2 days, they were already separated. The paperwork used only their initials, TB and BW, probably hoping to keep it under wraps, but come on, It didn't take long for people to connect the dots. The documents clearly listed the marriage date and the split, August 10th, 2024, and just 2 weeks later, Tony filed for divorce. In the paperwork, she and her attorney described the marriage as irretrievably broken, which is basically legal talk for this relationship is done for good. The internet went wild trying to figure out what could have possibly gone wrong in just 2 days. But then, just when everyone thought it was officially over, Tony changed her mind. In January 2025, she quietly dismissed the divorce petition, and Birdman signed off too. That means, as of right now, the two are still legally husband and wife, whether they're living together or not. And thanks to Tamar's recent chaos bringing old drama back into the spotlight, fans just found out that Tony and Birdman are still together behind the scenes. Now, the big question everyone's asking, why stay together after all that? Well, insiders claim Tony might be hanging on for financial security. She's had a long public history of money troubles, from bankruptcy filings to unpaid taxes, and Birdman's got the kind of cash that can keep things comfortable. Some fans even say Tony sees Birdman as her financial safety net, especially with her health issues and recent financial setbacks, whether it's love, loyalty, or just smart survival. One thing's for sure, Tony's playing this game her way. And Birdman, he's clearly not letting go either. This marriage might be messy, but it's far from over. People online are saying Tony and Birdman couldn't be more different, like total opposites who somehow ended up in the same storm. Word is, their marriage might have been more of a business arrangement than a fairy tale love story, and honestly, that wouldn't surprise anyone at this point. The vibe between them has always felt complicated, like something's being held together by image, not emotion. Now, whether Birdman was actually the man in question from Tamar's accusations still isn't confirmed, but just the rumor of it had Toni Braxton completely losing her cool. Tony snapped, saying that Tamar loves being infamous more than famous, and that she's beyond disappointed in her sister's behavior. She even admitted she's been paying her own publicist to clean up Tamar's messy image online. Imagine having to hire a whole team just to manage your sister's social media drama. That's wild. And fans were quick to point out, Tony's emotional reaction made way more sense if Tamar was talking about Birdman all along, especially since rumors have been swirling that Tamar and Birdman dated first. The tension suddenly made sense. This wasn't just about family, it was about a love triangle wrapped in years of resentment and buried secrets. But Tamar wasn't sitting quietly while Tony threw shade. Oh no, she came with receipts. Tamar started dropping her own claims, saying that Tony isn't as innocent as people think. She even said it was Tony's idea to bring their niece Ashley onto the show, the same niece who later spilled some jaw-dropping tea of her own. Ashley revealed that her father, Michael Braxton Jr., and her stepmom once found inappropriate text messages between Ashley and one of her aunt's partners, and that partner turned out to be Trina's ex, Gabe. The whole situation was disturbing and messy, and fans couldn't believe how deep the Braxton family web of drama really goes. Every time you think you've heard the worst of it, another layer peels back, and it's always more scandalous than before. When Ashley first told her aunt what happened, she said her aunt was loving and heartbroken over the situation, showing real emotion and concern. But as time passed, something changed. Ashley claimed her aunt's attitude shifted completely, almost like she started to side with the wrong person. As Ashley got older, she said it began to sink in just how strange it was that her aunt stayed with that same partner even after everything that went down. That's when things took a dark turn. Apparently, her aunt started blaming Ashley instead, saying she was part of the problem. The betrayal there is unreal. So Tamar brought Ashley onto the show to finally speak her truth. But here's the kicker. Tamar said it was actually Tony's idea to include her niece in the storyline. That set off a whole chain reaction of family drama because now fans don't even know who's really telling the truth. Was Tamar trying to help Ashley heal, or just using her pain to stir up the pot and get revenge on her sisters? A lot of viewers think Tamar had an ulterior motive, not genuine concern, but pure payback. They believe she's exploiting her niece's trauma to throw shade at her sisters and grab headlines. And honestly, that theory doesn't sound too far-fetched considering how every Braxton scandal seems to end up benefiting Tamar somehow. But if you look closer, the real story here goes deeper than Tony versus Tamar. It's about Ashley, a young woman trying to find her voice while being dragged into her family's chaos for TV ratings. She's become the centerpiece of this messy season, carrying the emotional weight of grown adults' drama on her shoulders. And now, she's the one catching all the backlash online, people calling her a liar, a pawn, or worse. while the sisters keep going back and forth like it's just another episode. It's heartbreaking and scandalous all at once. Turns out it really was Tony's idea to bring Ashley onto the show, not Tamar's. That revelation flipped everything upside down and made Tamar's next accusations hit even harder. Tamar went off, saying her sisters have been secretly jealous of her for years and that they love to gaslight her every time she opens up about her emotions. She said they twist her mental health battles into weapons just to make her look unstable on camera. And honestly, that's a low blow. In Tamar's own words, "You're not going to guilt me over having depression and anxiety, especially when half of that came from y'all." And you know what? That hit deep, because if that's true, it's seriously messed up. Imagine fighting your own mind while your family turns your struggles into insults. That's beyond cruel. Tamar's been loud and honest about her mental health journey, so watching her sisters use it against her on national TV, that's wild. She also clapped back at the whole cease and desist situation, questioning what her mental health had to do with any of that. She told them straight up she didn't do or say anything to deserve a legal threat, calling the whole thing ridiculous. Tamar made it clear that dinner wasn't about to become her mental illness coming out party for her sister's entertainment. She wasn't letting anyone turn her vulnerability into reality TV content again, and honestly, she sounded like she meant every word. Tamar reminded everyone that she's been transparent about her depression and anxiety for years and that she's actively getting help. She even revealed she talks to a counselor multiple times a week, both on and off set, proving she's doing the work to stay healthy despite the chaos around her. It's heartbreaking and powerful at the same time. A woman trying to protect her peace while her own family keeps stirring the storm. This isn't just family drama anymore. It's emotional warfare with cameras rolling. But just when everyone thought Tamar was finally standing her ground, things spiraled right back into chaos. Her sisters weren't having it, especially Tawanda, who rolled her eyes mid-conversation and muttered something under her breath that set Tamar off instantly. Cameras caught Tamar slamming her fork down, shouting that she's done being the family's punching bag. The energy in that room, pure fire and tension, like decades of resentment exploding in real time. Tony tried to stay calm, but her voice started to shake too. She told Tamar she's tired of walking on eggshells and that the family has to protect their brand. That's when Tamar snapped, yelling that her mental health isn't bad for the brand. It's bad because of the brand. The whole table went silent after that line. Even Trina and Tawanda looked stunned, like Tamar had finally said the one thing everyone was too scared to admit out loud. And the internet ate it up. Fans online were divided, half saying they finally understand why Tamar feels so isolated, and the other half calling her dramatic for making everything about herself. But one thing's clear. The Braxton sisters' wounds run way deeper than what we see on TV. This isn't just sibling rivalry anymore. It's pain that's been festering for years, now spilling out for the world to judge. Later in the episode, Tamar stormed off set in tears, saying she didn't want to be filmed anymore. But the cameras kept rolling as producers tried to calm her down behind the scenes. She shouted that she's been loyal, honest, and open, and that everyone in her family keeps betraying her for ratings. "I'm not your storyline," she cried, and you could feel every ounce of that heartbreak. Meanwhile, Tony sat in silence, staring into space like she was processing everything. Maybe guilt, maybe exhaustion, or maybe realizing how far gone things really are. Because at this point, the Braxton family's bond looks shattered. And if Tamar decides to walk away for good, this might be the end of the show as we know it, or the start of something even messier. Stay tuned for the final piece, and don't forget to hit subscribe to JuicyReel so you don't miss the next wild twist. After that explosive dinner, the Braxton family hasn't been the same. Cameras caught them barely speaking during filming, and producers had to edit around silent tension just to keep the show moving. The energy is heavy, like everyone's walking through emotional landmines. Tamar's been avoiding family events, while Tony's keeping her distance, focusing on music and trying to look unbothered online. But fans aren't buying it. They can feel the tension even through Instagram posts and staged smiles. Rumors are now flying that Tamar's ready to quit the show completely, saying she's tired of being the villain in her own family's story. Insiders claim she's working on her own docuseries, one that'll expose the truth behind all the fake sisterhood we've been seeing on TV. And honestly, people would watch the hell out of that. The girl's been through public breakups, career setbacks, and family betrayal. She's got a story to tell, and fans are dying to hear her unfiltered side. Meanwhile, Tony and Birdman are still confusing everyone, One minute they're split, the next they're spotted leaving a studio together late at night. Some say Tony's just trying to protect her image while figuring things out behind the scenes, while others think she's holding on because of loyalty or money. Either way, their situation screams complicated. Tawanda and Trina, they're caught in the middle, trying to keep peace while still throwing little bits of shade when cameras are rolling. Every confession scene turns into a mini therapy session mixed with a clapback. You can see the exhaustion in their eyes, but also the addiction. Because let's be real, the fame and drama keep them relevant. The Braxton legacy used to be about harmony, sisterhood, and soul. But now, it's turning into one of reality TV's most unpredictable sagas. From love triangles to betrayals to emotional breakdowns, it's a roller coaster you just can't look away from. And whether you're Team Tamar, Team Tony, or just here for the drama, one thing's for sure, this family feud is far from over. So keep your popcorn ready because with the Braxtons, every episode feels like a finale. Tamar later made it crystal clear she's perfectly fine, just tired of everyone weaponizing her vulnerability like it's entertainment. She said her emotions aren't a storyline, they're real life, and she's done letting people twist her pain for TV views. And this time, the internet actually had her back. Fans flooded social media defending her, saying her sisters have been gaslighting her for years and turning her genuine hurt into a punchline. They said Tamar's outbursts aren't drama, they're cries for help that keep getting ignored. But things got even messier when Tawanda allegedly started pushing Tony to press charges against Tamar. Like, who does that to their own sister? Fans online were furious, calling it heartless and unnecessary. Many said the family's completely lost sight of what matters, that they're so deep in their TV roles they forgot how to be a real family. Still, not everyone was on Tamar's side. Some viewers said they've had enough of the constant crying, yelling, and chaos, calling her emotionally exhausting and saying she needs to step away from the cameras for good. One commenter even wrote, "The whole Braxton family needs a reality TV break permanently." And honestly, after all this, who could argue with that? The drama's gotten so toxic, it's hard to tell what's real anymore. Are these women trying to heal or just keeping the ratings alive? Every argument, every tear, every shocking revelation has blurred the line between reality and performance. But one thing's for sure, this family's love story has turned into one of reality TV's most explosive sagas ever. So here's the big question. Did Tony really flip out because Tamar brought up Birdman, or is there more to it than we know? Are the sisters truly gaslighting Tamar, or is she spinning the narrative herself? Either way, the Braxtons have the world watching, waiting for the next meltdown, the next confession, the next betrayal. Drop your thoughts below, because this one's got everyone talking. And if you live for the drama, scandals, and secrets, make sure you subscribe to JuicyReel, where we keep it raw, real, and juicy.
Sister Tracy is the one who said to me, but don't you know when you make it, you can help us come on. So I always try to abide that. But the responsibility of it is so heavy for me. I feel I can never live my life. And I never used to say it. I never used to say it.
Regurgitate that story to us. Well, or I can only speak for me. I can only speak for me. But for someone else to tell me the story of something that happened to my own family is very disheartening.
Before anyone says anything, please let it be known and let it be clear that as I am in this journey and in this process, and as I'm healing and like trying to understand all of this stuff, that it feels really good to have a family member behind me.
Okay, honey. Ashley, the Braxtons' niece, just blew the door off a whole vault of family chaos. And now everyone's caught in the crossfire because the ex-husbands are stepping up like they've been waiting years to talk, ready to spill about everything they saw inside that Braxton household that left them straight up stunned and stressed out. And when these men say the Braxton sisters are carrying generational trauma like it's some kind of luxury accessory.
You felt guilty because you know how you've been acting. And however, excuse me, let me finish because I let you talk. Thank you. I will.
Continue.
And I will. And I will. And yes. So, and then you decided that, you know, you wanted to say something, like you just couldn't let him say something nice about me.
Do you think you've been the same exact person?
He does.
No, I'm asking you. Do you think that you've
I
been
know
the same?
I know I'm the same.
I'm asking. Do you think that you've been?
I'm answering. I have been the same motif.
So you
You're not my authority.
So you are.
Nor am I afraid of you. So don't talk to me like that, okay?
Hilarious.
Every time
that we
They're saying it from deep in their chest with no hesitation. Even Tony's ex-husband, Carrie Lewis, is out here breaking it down like he's hosting his own seminar, explaining how Tony allegedly used her own sisters as stepping stones to push her career higher, and he's dropping details on why the sisters, especially Tamar and Tawanda, can barely stand being in the same room without the tension getting loud. This man is walking us through drama like he took notes over the years, and the wild part is, it all fits together a little too well. Now look, every family's got drama, for sure. But the Braxtons take dysfunction to a level that feels like a whole different planet. Their issues don't just simmer, they detonate, and the blast radius hits everyone close to them. If we're gonna understand how the sister situation turned into the messy disaster it is today, we gotta rewind and hit the real root of all this chaos. Because nothing about this saga started overnight, and every piece of drama we see now connects to something that went down long before the cameras were even rolling. Evelyn and Michael Braxton Sr., the parents at the center of how this whole cycle even started, are right in the spotlight again, after Ashley stepped forward and shared her truth about how one of her auntie's husbands crossed major boundaries with her when she was still very young.
Well, first of all, I was very disappointed in finding out via social media because our family is closer than that. And to have someone else...
And the way the family reacted back then, and even now, is honestly chilling. Instead of protecting her or standing by her, they turned the whole situation around and made her feel like she was the problem, keeping their distance as if she had done something wrong when she was just a teen, trying to make sense of something deeply uncomfortable. Ashley felt so alone, so pushed out, that she packed up her life and moved to a completely different country just to breathe and get away from the pressure. Imagine being that overwhelmed, that leaving the entire environment felt like the only way to survive.
Tamar, you just, you had me thinking I was crazy too. I see, you know what, it felt like a surviving Tamar moment. They always talk about how, women is being mentally abused and physically abused. Men get mentally and physically abused too. Cause she just socked me in my jaw before. You feel me? And I'm sure Jeremy and before and got their head cracked. Okay? And them gas station pills, yeah. You gotta do something to stay afloat.
That's how heavy this was for her. And when she finally shared her story on TikTok, hoping someone in her own family would show some type of support, nothing happened. According to Ashley, out of every auntie she's got, only Tamar reached out to her. Tamar didn't just ignore it. She liked Ashley's post. She reconnected. And it turns out she had been keeping her distance too while trying to recover from her own trauma that sounded way too familiar.
I confess that my breakdown between your mother and I has caused emotional unbalance in the family.
Most of the time, I don't like my family. Everyone in my family.
Take a breath.
Everybody. I feel like I'm angry at everybody in my family. I don't like my family. If they weren't my family.
But here's the part that really hits hard. What's the excuse for the rest of the aunties? Because Ashley says she didn't get a text, a message, a call, a DM. Nothing at all. And you'd expect Grandma Evelyn, of all people, to be heartbroken over what her granddaughter went through. But according to Ashley, there was still no response, no comfort, no acknowledgement, just silence that cuts deeper than any words.
Andre is a writer. He basically sits home and writes books, his own books. And he takes care of the kids, which is great. Except for one thing, he's not out selling any of his books, which means I have to take care of the household because he's not bringing any money in.
I don't like some of the things you do, Truth. Basically, I feel like I married my mother. And I didn't like my mother. I loved her to death, but I didn't like her.
Ashley even revealed that her own father, Mikey, sent her a whole cease and desist letter, threatening to sue her if she dared to speak out, and that move felt cold, harsh, and completely unnecessary. Instead of stepping up as a parent and checking on his daughter, he went straight to legal threats, which says everything about where his priorities were. And what makes it even wilder is how the family seemed way more focused on silencing her than actually helping her heal or welcoming her back into the family circle, like keeping the image clean mattered more than doing right by her. And Ashley isn't the only one dealing with this pattern. When Tamar opened up about being touched inappropriately as a kid, her own sisters hit her with comments that felt like verbal punches. They said Tamar was sharing what she believed was her truth, but not the truth. And everybody knows that's basically them saying they don't believe her. Instead of supporting her, they were upset she didn't call them before speaking publicly, acting like the real issue was communication instead of the pain she carried for years. And if Ashley, Tamar, and even Tracy had experiences like this, who knows how many others went through similar trauma, but kept quiet because they felt unsafe speaking up. What makes everything even heavier is the idea that Mama Evelyn might have known more than she ever admitted. Tamar wasn't allowed to publicly name the person who hurt her, and the decision felt like protecting the abuser instead of standing up for her own daughter, which leaves a mark that never fully fades. These sisters didn't just develop issues overnight. They were shaped by the environment created by Evelyn and Michael Sr., and the damage runs way deeper than what the public ever saw. Michael Sr. walked out after the divorce and went on to marry the woman he'd been seeing on the side, leaving the sisters and their mom to deal with the emotional wreckage he left behind. Their mom was struggling so badly she ended up in the hospital, and Tony had to step into a parental role when she was barely an adult herself, carrying weight no young woman should have been forced to hold. Once Tony's career started rising, she didn't just have to focus on herself. She suddenly became responsible for her sisters' futures too, whether she wanted that pressure or not. And back then, she wasn't competing with small names. She was up against legends like Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston. Now, Tony's voice is gorgeous for sure, but next to those powerhouse icons, she wasn't holding the number 1 or number 2 spot, so she pulled Tamar in as her hidden weapon. It was Tamar's vocals layered under Tony's that gave those early records that extra fire and made the sound unforgettable. Tony had Tawanda working as her personal assistant, Trina doing background vocals, and everyone falling in line to keep the machine running. But when Tamar started craving her own shine, the cracks in the sisterhood started showing fast. Their girl group fell apart because they couldn't stop arguing long enough to move as a unit, and the tension was loud every time they tried to make something happen. Then Tamar linked up with Vince, and he flipped the whole situation by locking them in for a reality show. Tawanda thought this show would elevate all the sisters, but Tamar quickly became the standout star, the one everyone was talking about. From there, she got her solo music career, spin-off shows, and even a spot on a daytime talk show. And according to Tawanda's ex-husband Andre, that's when the resentment really started cooking, turning quiet jealousy into something way stronger and hard to ignore. According to Andre, Tawanda and Trina held on to anger toward Tamar for years, blaming her for why their girl group never took off, carrying that bitterness like it was a whole job they clocked into every day. Tawanda was dealing with heavy pressure at home, too. She was married to Andre, who wasn't working, so she was out here hustling alone while trying to hold everything together. Things got so rough that she even ended up facing criminal charges for forgery and theft, and later caught another case involving alleged fraud with her landlord, making her situation even messier. Tracy struggled with money too, and things spilled into the public when their landlord put up an IG post calling out Tracy and Kevin Sr. for not paying rent. The sisters were dealing with real financial stress, and the world got to watch it unfold. Andre says Tony and Tamar did help them out sometimes, but the way it was done didn't feel warm. It didn't feel like family looking out for family. Tony carried herself like a full-on diva, and Tamar had mood swings hitting left and right, so the support didn't come with kindness attached. Since Tony and Tamar were the most successful, they held the most power, and whenever Tawanda, Tracy, or Trina asked for help, Andre claims they were treated more like workers than sisters, talked down to, and made to feel small. Tony and Tamar allegedly chipped away at their confidence, acting like they enjoyed being the ones in control, and that left scars that still linger. And Evelyn, the mama of the whole crew, she was allegedly siding with Tony and Tamar because they were the ones bringing in the fame and the money. Instead of being neutral, it seemed like she leaned toward whichever side had the biggest spotlight, and that added even more division to a family already cracking under pressure. The competition between the sisters didn't stop with their careers. It slid right into their marriages too, turning everything upside down. They could get men to marry them, sure, but keeping those marriages steady long-term was a whole different story, and a lot of that pressure came from the bitterness they grew up around. Their mom's tension and unresolved pain seemed to shadow every relationship they tried to build, making it hard for any of them to find real stability. Tawanda's current partner looks like he's enjoying the perks way more than he's invested in her, and anyone watching can see she puts in way more effort than he does. Tony had her own difficult breakup, and people whispered that Birdman's lifestyle and preferences caused tension between them, adding layers of drama they couldn't overcome. Trina dealt with Gabe disrespecting her non-stop, and as soon as that ended, she bounced right into another rocky situation with Vaughn, keeping the cycle going. Tamar has been married and divorced 3 times, each breakup bringing its own complications and public stress, showing just how deep the family patterns run. Tracy dealt with heartbreak too. She forgave Kevin after rumors spread that he had a child outside their marriage, and even after all that, when she passed, she left everything to her son instead of him, and he's still upset about it today. People keep digging into the Braxton family history, and the stories that come out paint a rough, emotional picture of what was happening behind the scenes. And honestly, it makes sense why someone would feel relieved not to grow up in a home where parents are treated like untouchable royalty, because that creates pressure nobody should have to deal with. The Braxtons didn't end up with all this chaos by accident. A lot of their pain ties back to how they were raised and the environment Evelyn created, whether she meant to or not. Very few of their issues are simple or one-sided. It's all tangled, it's all complicated, and everybody's got a story to tell. But when you trace it back far enough, the root almost always leads to Mama E, Evelyn. The more you dig into the Braxton history, the more you realize their family drama didn't just happen. It kept growing because nobody ever stopped the cycle. And by the time fame hit them, the pressure, jealousy, and old wounds were all exploding at the same time, and every sister handled it in her own messy way. People close to them said whenever a Braxton walked into a room, you could feel the tension before they even spoke, like everyone was bracing for the next blow-up. Industry folks who worked with them claim the sisters would compete over everything. Who looked the best that day, who had the better vocals, who the crew favored, who got the most screen time, even who got the most attention from fans and men. It became an ego war wrapped in family loyalty, and nobody wanted to admit how deep the insecurity really ran. One moment they were hugging for the cameras, the next they were side-eyeing each other like rivals instead of sisters. And when the cameras stopped rolling, things got even wilder behind the scenes. Insiders said arguments would jump from business to personal in seconds. Money, old grudges, childhood pain, favoritism, and who deserved the spotlight all mixed together like a recipe for disaster. Some days, Tony and Tamar were on one side, Tawanda and Trina were on another, and Tracy was caught in the middle trying to keep the peace even when she was hurting too. People in their circle whispered that the sisters didn't trust each other with good news or bad news because everything turned into a competition or a guilt trip. If one sister booked a gig, another would claim she wasn't supportive enough. If one was struggling, someone else would complain about being dragged into the drama. It was a non-stop cycle of who's the villain today, and every sister had her turn being the one everyone pointed at. And through all of it, nobody stepped back to break the pattern. The pressure kept piling up until the smallest disagreements turned into explosions that felt way bigger than the moment itself. As the years went on, the Braxton drama didn't slow down. If anything, it kept getting heavier because every new situation dragged up something old that was never healed. And by the time the reality show cameras were following them around, the whole world got to see what insiders had been whispering about for years. The sisters were smiling for the show, but the second that red light turned off, everything shifted. The tone, the mood, the energy. It was like watching a storm form in real time. Producers said they never had to push the sisters for drama because the tension was already there, bubbling under every conversation. One wrong look, one shady comment, one old memory coming up, and suddenly the whole room was tight. Arguments would jump from 0 to 100 so fast that crew members were stepping back like, "Let me not get caught in this crossfire." And the sisters weren't just arguing about work. They were fighting over loyalty, respect, and who had been carrying emotional weight the longest. Tracy, especially, felt like she was always being pushed to the side, and people behind the scenes said she would walk away from set in tears sometimes, feeling ignored or treated like she didn't matter. Tawanda had her own struggles and felt like nobody took her seriously unless she was doing something for them. Trina felt judged every time she tried to talk about her love life or her mistakes. And Tamar, well, Tamar's emotions were always loud, and instead of comfort, she'd get dismissed or called dramatic, which only made things worse. Even Tony, the calm, classy one, hit breaking points where she snapped because she was tired of being the one everyone expected to fix the family when she was exhausted herself. If Tony didn't show up to an event, people said she wasn't supportive. If she did show up, people claimed she was acting superior. There was literally no winning for her. And every time they tried to resolve things, the conversations turned into someone feeling attacked, someone walking out, and someone shutting down completely. At some point, it stopped being regular sibling arguments. It became emotional warfare built on decades of hurt, jealousy, and secrets nobody wanted to bring into the light. If Evelyn ever stepped up, took real accountability, and actually addressed the harm she caused, it could open the door for real healing in that family. But right now, it feels like nobody wants to face the truth, and the damage just keeps spreading. The more I look at everything the Braxtons have gone through, the more their whole situation gives off this heavy, dark energy that's been sitting there for years, and nobody wants to be the first to break the cycle. This family has layers on layers of pain, secrets, jealousy, and silence, and it's clear none of it is simple. Every sister has her own scars, her own story, and her own reasons for being the way she is. And until somebody at the top finally owns what really happened, they're all stuck repeating the same hurt over and over again. So tell me what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments because this story is wild from every angle. Hit that like button, show some love, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you want even more deep dives, drama breakdowns, and behind-the-scenes truths, make sure you subscribe to JuicyReel. That's where the real tea keeps pouring.
But you can't be thinking you're gonna go have plastic surgery on a Groupon.
Exactly.
Like you,
The
ain't no
Botox
plastic
parties.
surgery on sale.
Exactly.
Like, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And if it's on sale, 9 times out of 10, you're not supposed to get it from the person that's having a sale on liposuction. Don't do that.
Things just got wild in the Braxton family. And this time, Tamar didn't just stir the pot, she flipped the whole table.
Confessing that although I love my family, most of the time I don't like my family. Everyone in my family.
Take a breath.
Everybody. I feel like I'm angry at everybody in my family. I don't like my family. If they weren't my family, it wouldn't be my friend.
Her latest live stream turned into a full-blown public roast of her own sister, Toni Braxton, and the internet cannot believe what she said. Tamar went on camera and straight up claimed that Birdman dumped Toni because of a botched BBL that allegedly smells bad. Can you believe that? For weeks, she's been dropping subtle shade, mocking Toni's new look, poking fun at her romance, and hinting that Birdman's been distant for reasons too personal to say out loud. But when she threw that BBL accusation into the mix, everything exploded online. People are losing their minds trying to figure out if Tamar's telling the truth or just trying to humiliate her sister for clout.
That is your man, as you call it. That is your man. He knew it was a situation with me and you. And he was down. He was down to play op games. I wouldn't take nothing like that serious, my love. That ate my and I sent him on his way. It wasn't, you don't want me to expose how you were saying that you kicked her out and she went back to her mother's house. Not Mrs. Braxton. Not Mrs. Not Mrs. Singer with the sold out tour that JR also told me was flex. It was cap. It was she flexing. She don't have no sold out. Between me and you was his exact words. The tour not sold out. He said you was messy. He said you went back to your mother's house. He told me a lot of things that he shouldn't tell a stranger. I just met this man less than a week.
Some fans say she's just being messy for views, while others think there's real tension brewing behind closed doors. And Toni? Oh, she's not staying quiet this time. Word is she's furious and gearing up for a major clapback that could expose way more than Tamar bargained for. This family feud is getting uglier by the minute. If this keeps blowing up, we might be witnessing one of the wildest, most personal celebrity family feuds in years. Is this still Braxton family values or straight up Braxton family breakdown? The drama's so real it feels scripted, except it's not. When producers teased that this season would bring the heat, nobody expected this. Even the Kardashians might want to grab a snack and take notes, because this level of chaos is next level entertainment. Just when fans thought Tamar couldn't stir the pot any harder, she dropped another bomb, saying Toni secretly got a BBL. Yes, Toni Braxton with a BBL. That's not just gossip, that's a scandal with capital letters. Plastic surgery in Hollywood isn't new, sure, but what made everyone's jaws hit the floor was Tamar's shocking claim that Toni's BBL went so wrong it allegedly started to stink, and that Birdman almost walked out over it. What? That's not just shade, that's nuclear level messy. Toni, of course, isn't letting that slide. She's been shutting down the rumors, swearing she never got any body work done. In her words, Toni laughed it off saying, "Mduya Kai, don't you know that it's my booty? I love somebody." She's keeping her story tight, claiming the only thing she's ever changed was her nose, just because she didn't like how it looked. But fans aren't sure what to believe anymore, and this feud just keeps getting hotter. Toni's been open about a few of her cosmetic tweaks. She once talked about her slimmer look and even admitted to getting a boob job. In one interview, she said, "For a girl who just scored a record deal with two of the biggest names in the business, I actually felt very lonely. I've been wanting to change my nose for years. I wanted it to be less broad, but because of how I was raised, I struggled with the idea of changing my body." Then she added, "And of course, I later got my boobies done. I'd always been built like a gymnast on top, thunder thighs below." She even laughed once, saying, "I wish I would have had lipo on my inner thighs. I've always hated them." So according to Toni, the nose job and boob job were it, nothing more. But let's keep it real. A whole lot of fans aren't buying that story. People online have been calling major bluff, claiming she's definitely had liposuction and maybe even a BBL too. And when you compare old school Toni from her 90s days to her more recent viral pics, the difference is hard to ignore. Back in the day, she had that classic natural fine look, but now her waist is super snatched and her hips are popping like never before. Fans are convinced it's giving strong BBL energy, and the internet won't stop talking about it. Soon enough, social media detectives went wild, zooming in, doing side-by-sides, and insisting Toni might not be telling the whole truth about her glow-up. Some say she's just keeping her beauty secrets private, while others think she's full-on hiding the truth to protect her image. But here's the twist. Just when everyone thought the rumors were fading, Tamar came crashing back into the spotlight and confirmed it all herself. That's when the real chaos began. Reports are saying Tamar's been out here spilling everything about Toni's supposed secret BBL, telling people her sister's been trying to pass it off as her natural body. But the real question is, why would Tamar do her own sister like that? Insiders claim this might all be payback, because the tension between the Braxton sisters has been boiling for months. And now, things have exploded into a full-on family mess. Apparently, before Tamar could even hit record on that explosive episode, Toni's legal team swooped in and dropped a cease and desist, shutting the whole thing down before it even aired. But you know Tamar, she wasn't about to take that quietly. She clapped back online, saying that if anyone tries to claim her sisters turned on her to protect the family, that's a total lie. And just when fans thought this was all one big misunderstanding, Trina and Tawanda jumped in saying they had no clue about any of it. Turns out, Tamar really did get that cease and desist, meaning Toni handled everything solo. No backup, no warning, just straight silence and legal threats. Now the internet's in full detective mode. People are asking why Toni's working so hard to stop someone named Ashley from speaking out, and what exactly went down behind those closed doors. Some fans swear Toni's just being petty because she's still beefing with Tamar, while others believe she's covering for someone else entirely. Either way, that cease and desist move sent Tamar over the edge. She swore she'd get revenge. And that's when she went public with those wild jaw-dropping BBL allegations that have everyone talking non-stop. You'd think Tamar would have stopped for the sake of sisterhood, right? Wrong! Clearly, you don't know Tamar Braxton. When it comes to drama, she doesn't hit the brakes. She hits the gas. Instead of backing off, she doubled down and claimed Toni's BBL allegedly went so bad that Birdman nearly filed for divorce over it. Yep, according to Tamar, that's how messy things got. It's starting to look like she's on a full-blown mission to drag her sister's name through every headline she can. Now fans can't stop talking. Timelines, TikToks, and gossip blogs are flooded. Everyone's wondering what's really going down behind closed doors at the Braxton house. And just when you think this family feud can't get any uglier, it somehow does. Things are spiraling fast, and people are starting to connect the dots. Maybe Tamar's spilling all this because of something deeper, something personal. Remember when Toni allegedly filed for divorce from Birdman just 2 days after saying, "I do"? Yeah, that wasn't a rumor. That actually happened. Reports say Toni supposedly separated from Birdman just 48 hours after their wedding, and less than a month later, she went full throttle, filing official papers claiming their marriage was irretrievably broken with zero chance of saving it. That revelation shocked everyone, especially since this wasn't their first messy breakup. You might recall their big split back in 2019, but the twist came later. By 2023, insiders claimed Toni started reaching out to Birdman again. Allegedly, she was sending flirty messages, dropping subtle hints, and making it clear she was ready for another round with him. Now fans are asking, was this real love or just part of the Braxton chaos playing out in public once again? Birdman once joked that being back with Toni felt like the breakup never even happened, because she was that determined to slide right back into his life. At first, Birdman tried to play it cool, saying he'd moved on, focusing on his own grind, and wasn't looking back. But Toni wasn't giving up that easy. She kept showing up, reaching out and reminding him of all those unforgettable moments they once shared. And guess what? Those old feelings Birdman swore he'd buried deep started creeping back up. Before long, her persistence paid off, and boom, the two were back together like nothing had ever gone wrong. After dating again for about a year, they shocked everyone by tying the knot on August 8th, 2024. Fans were cheering, thinking this was finally their happily ever after. Until, out of nowhere, Tony hit the world with a divorce filing that left everyone speechless. That's when the whispers started. People claimed Tony might have had other motives, especially since rumors were swirling about her having some serious financial struggles at the time. The internet couldn't handle it. Drama everywhere. Some fans accused her of chasing Birdman's money, while others defended her, saying she'd been through too much to not look out for herself. But when reports dropped that Tony was allegedly trying to walk away from the marriage with a $160 million divorce payout after being married less than a month, the internet completely lost it. Comment sections went wild, gossip pages crashed, and debates broke out over whether that number was fair or downright outrageous. Even 50 Cent jumped in on Instagram, cracking jokes like only he can, saying, "Now watch, women are gonna say, well, if you stuck around for 16 years, you'd want to be paid for it too." That comment sent everyone into a frenzy, and the drama just kept getting louder. That 50 Cent comment blew up the internet. Social media went crazy. Tony was getting dragged left and right, with people calling her a gold digger and saying she was just in it for the money. But now, with all these new whispers about Birdman supposedly wanting to bounce because of that rumored botched surgery, some fans are starting to see things differently. They're saying maybe Tony's wild reaction wasn't about greed. Maybe it came from anger and straight up humiliation. If there's even a sliver of truth to that surgery story, then maybe throwing out that massive $160 million number was her emotional way of hitting back. Insiders say Tony eventually cooled off and even called off the divorce completely. One source even claims she filed first only because she found out Birdman was about to beat her to it, and she didn't want to be the one getting left. She wanted to stay in control, save face, and keep her pride intact. I mean, let's be real. Being married for 2 days isn't exactly something anyone wants on their resume. But apparently, the couple managed to work things out. Word is, Tony handled those health rumors quietly and made sure everything was fresh, fixed, and fine. So, for now, things seem calm, at least on the surface. But the truth? None of this tea would have seen daylight if Tamar and Tony hadn't blown up on each other in that explosive fight. And you know Tony, she's no pushover. She doesn't take hits without firing back. According to insiders, she clapped right back at Tamar, dragging her hard over her own messy situation with her ex-fiancé, JR. Oh yeah, the shade went both ways, and it got personal fast. And when I say Tony hit the mark, I mean she hit it hard. Because not too long ago, Tamar herself admitted that her ex-fiancé, JR, didn't just cheat. He allegedly stole her jewelry and gave it to his side chick. Can you imagine that level of disrespect? But hold up, it gets even wilder. Reports claim JR was also allegedly messing around with Tommy Lee while still dating Tamar. Now that's a whole different kind of scandal. Tommy didn't hold back either. She bragged online that JR didn't cut off those other women for Tamar, even after Tamar came at her publicly. And if that wasn't enough, Tommy went on to say that JR had been out here spilling Tamar's business to anyone who'd listen, just running his mouth like it was open mic night. Total chaos. The internet couldn't handle it. Fans were stunned. Gossip pages went into overdrive, and everyone was questioning Tamar's choices. People were like, how could she stay after that? The drama was so loud, it felt like a reality show playing out in real life. And here's the craziest part. Insiders claim JR allegedly did all of that within just 1 week of meeting Tommy. 1 week. That's not just messy, that's pure mayhem. And it left Tamar humiliated in front of millions. JR knew exactly about the tension between Tamar and Tony, but that didn't stop him one bit. He jumped right into the mess, got involved, and started running his mouth, spilling Tamar's private business like it was nothing. That's wild behavior. Honestly, Tamar should have dropped his so-called white chocolate self and walked away the moment he started acting shady. But come on, this is Tamar. She doesn't take advice from anyone, even when the writing's glowing red on the wall. So she kept doing her thing, posting about her man, her man, her man. Except the problem was, he was also everybody's man. The internet couldn't stop clowning. And then came the heartbreak. JR allegedly dumped her out of nowhere, leaving her spiraling all over Beyonce's internet like we'd never seen before. It was messy, it was loud, and it was everywhere. For a while, people moved on, thinking the saga was done and buried, until Tony resurrected it in the most savage way possible. During a shady little "isn't this you" moment, Tony threw that whole JR situation right back in Tamar's face. And it hit hard, especially since Tamar had just tried to come for Tony's relationship with Birdman. Now it's clear, these sisters don't just argue, they go to war. When the Braxtons bring drama, they bring it heavy and public. But here's the real question everyone's asking. How far are they willing to take this feud before someone completely loses it? Because if this tea keeps spilling like this, it's not staying on TV. It's about to blow up everywhere. Now with the sisters trading blows like heavyweight champs, the Braxton family drama has officially reached a boiling point. Insiders say things behind the scenes are way worse than what fans are seeing online. We're talking group chats blowing up, family dinners canceled, and everyone picking sides. Tamar's out here defending her every move, while Tony's quietly plotting her next power play. It's not just gossip anymore. This is turning into a full-on family war. Word is, Tamar's been hinting that she's got even more tea to spill, something that could end all rumors once and for all. Meanwhile, Tony's been keeping it classy in public, but allegedly gearing up to drop her own bombshells that could flip the whole story upside down. The tension's so thick, you could cut it with a knife, and fans are glued to every update like it's a primetime reality show. And it's not just them. Even the other Braxton sisters, Trina and Tawanda, are feeling the pressure to pick sides. Some say they're trying to play peacemakers, but others think they're secretly backing Tony behind the scenes. Either way, the whole family's on edge and nobody's sure what'll happen next. What's even crazier? Insiders are whispering that producers from Braxton Family Values might be trying to cash in on all this chaos with a tell-all special, featuring never-before-seen clips and shocking confessions. If that happens, this feud won't just stay online. It'll be front and center for the whole world to see. At this point, it feels like the Braxton drama isn't just a story. It's a full-blown saga. And if the rumors about what's coming next are true, this family storm is just getting started. This whole thing is about to explode in real life. No question about it. Because let's be honest, there's no drama like family drama. And the Braxtons, they always take it 10 levels higher than anyone else. Every twist just gets messier. Every clapback hits harder. And at this point, nobody knows what these sisters might do next. Whatever's coming is guaranteed to leave everybody completely shook. If you've been hooked on this wild Braxton saga, make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment, and share it with someone who lives for drama like this. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to JuicyReel, because the next chapter in this story is about to get even crazier. You seriously don't want to miss what's coming next.
But you can't be thinking you're gonna go have plastic surgery on a Groupon.
Exactly.
Like you,
The
ain't no
Botox
plastic
parties.
surgery on sale.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And if it's on sale, 9 times out of 10, you're not supposed to get it from the person that's having a sale on liposuction. Don't do
Things
that.
just exploded in the Braxton family. And baby, this time, it's way messier than anyone expected. Tamar took things to a whole new level, and now folks are side-eyeing hard. What started as a few shady jabs online has turned into a straight-up public takedown, and she did it live for the whole world to see.
Confessing that although I love my family, most of the time I don't like my family. Everyone in my family.
Take a breath.
Everybody. I feel like I'm angry at everybody in my family. I don't like my family. If they weren't my family, it wouldn't be my friends.
Tamar Braxton went on Instagram Live and dragged her own sister, Toni Braxton, with no mercy. She claimed that Birdman walked away from Toni because of a botched BBL that supposedly went left, and even said the results stank. Can you imagine that? For weeks, Tamar had been sliding little shots at Toni, clowning her love life, teasing her looks, and hinting that Birdman was getting distant for personal reasons. But when she dropped these BBL accusations, everything blew up. She didn't just say Toni got work done, she claimed the whole thing was a disaster that left Birdman ready to call it quits. Now social media is losing its mind trying to piece together what really happened behind those closed doors. Everybody's got opinions, and the Braxton drama just hit a level nobody was ready for. Toni ain't taking that shade quietly. Sources say she's furious and gearing up to clap back hard. If this fire keeps burning between the two sisters, we might be witnessing one of the wildest and most personal celebrity family feuds of all time. This isn't just drama. It's a full-on Braxton meltdown. Let's talk about it. Is this Braxton family values or the Braxton family blues? Because honey, the Braxtons are showing us they don't play when it comes to bringing the heat. The Kardashians better take notes. The Braxton sisters are serving chaos, attitude, and tears all in one explosive season. Just when everyone thought the drama had hit its peak, Tamar threw more fuel on the fire by claiming Toni secretly got herself a BBL. Yep. She called her BBL Toni. Can you believe that? Now in Hollywood, getting a little nip and tuck ain't exactly shocking news, but what sent the internet into orbit was Tamar saying Toni's so-called BBL went left, claiming it was so botched that it allegedly stank, and that the smell had Birdman ready to pack his bags and bounce. Toni, of course, denies ever getting work done, just like plenty of celebs do when the rumors start flying. But the way this story's spinning, people are wondering, is Toni hiding something, or is Tamar just stirring the pot again? Toni tried to brush it all off by saying, "Am do you kai? Don't you know that? It's my body. I love somebody." She gave her usual line, claiming she only got a nose job because she hated how it looked and just wanted it slimmer. But then she got real in an old interview, admitting she also had her boobs done, and her reason sounded pretty emotional. She said, "For a girl who just scored a record deal with two of the biggest names in the business, I actually felt very lonely. I've been wanting to change my nose for years. I wanted it to be less broad, but because of the conservative ideas I was raised with, I struggled with the thought of altering my body. And of course, I later got my boobies done." Toni even joked that she'd always been shaped like a gymnast, size AA up top and thunder thighs down below. Then she added, "In fact, I wish I would have had lipo on my inner thighs. I've always hated them." So, according to Toni, the boob job and nose job were the only things she ever had done. But baby, the internet ain't buying it. Fans are calling BS, saying there's no way she stopped there. And many believe she definitely had lipo and maybe even a BBL on top of it. And the receipts? Whew! When fans compared her old photos to a recent viral pic, the difference was wild. Back in the 90s, she was fine. Natural curves, toned body, classic beauty. But now, that waist is snatched to the heavens, and those hips are sitting way fuller. The side-by-side says it all. It's giving lipo and BBL energy. No question about it.